Good morning, traders. Welcome back. It's another bright week right here on Trade the Pool, and we got a great event we got to keep talking about, guys. We are moving on to the profitable trading bot life. Did you ever think about maybe creating your own trading bot? Well, here's the opportunity, guys. August 18th, sign up right now in the description below. Hit that link and make sure that you're signed up so you don't miss out on this epic event. We'll talk more about it during the show. We got a great show for you guys today. Of course, another week where the markets get a little shakeup. Trump stepping in here and making a deal with Nvidia, AMD. We'll talk about how that affects different stocks and Bitcoin stocks just booming, guys. Ethereum to new highs and really kind of pushing. This Ethereum was lagging for a long time, a lot on Bitcoin and other coins. Now we're seeing these stocks, of course, take off, not just the coins. Now we'll keep trying to trade them. We'll see what happens, what we can come up with today. It's going to be another great show. We got a lot to talk about. We'll get to, of course, the playbook. We'll get to the sunrise report. We'll talk about the profitable trading bot event, right? Everyone wants to build a bot. I'll tell you one thing, I'll be there. The question is, will you guys? And let me know. Are you guys excited about this event? Hit the link down below. Let's keep things rolling here. Let's get to the show. We'll get to the playbook coming up right now. Let's kick things off with the countdown and get to the trading action.
Wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
Traders, how we doing? Let's get things started. We'll take a look into the market. We'll go around and see what's happening out there. First thing we need to do is just take a look at the SPY, as the SPY is itching towards new highs. Of course, last week we did get that cut down. We got to cut down right back down through towards the highs, and we did not get back there towards where we broke the high on the first time around. So I'm going to throw up a chart right now, but I think we got to just clean it up a little bit. So I took off some lines there so you guys don't get confused. Let's get to the action. Let's take a look here how this market is looking. Of course, you guys can see it this morning, kind of setting up here for the rip. Will we continue to go higher or not? All questions to be had. You guys can see how we're just kind of grinding back up to the top end of the Bollinger Band. We were near the bottom end of the Bollinger Band and continuing higher and above the 9 EMA, right? So strength all around in the market right now. We'll see if it's able to hold on. You can see how we kind of keep going towards these highs and kind of flicking off of that. We'll see if we get back through the 640s today and start going to 642 and make a new high. We'll have to wait and find out. I'll tell you one thing, we'll be watching. The Q's a little bit stronger. Of course, we can take a look at that. Big breakout since this 540. We haven't really retraced that. We created kind of a new bottom here around the 550, 551 area. And what did we get on Friday? A new high there. So Q's continuing to rip out. That's why tech is the way to be. And we talked about it this morning. Nvidia, AMD, will those continue higher? All questions that I'm looking at. And we'll talk about the news that came out on AMD and Nvidia this morning. Let's get to the action and throughout the weekend. Let's go first to the playbook. We'll take a look at what stocks you guys can be trading this morning. Of course, these are stocks that I'm looking at. You don't have to trade these, but there's a couple of these that are on my radar that could be on your radar this morning. Let's take a look into it. Let's, of course, also talk about last week, that VIX meltdown. That was definitely one of the top plays of the week. Let's go to some different plays now. Let's take a look into one here that is, of course, Uber. Looking to see if Uber can go back to the upside here. It's been kind of bouncing around. Of course, I liked it when it was going back here towards 96. We did get a little bit of a pullback. Now we're starting to push right back up there. And so I like this throwback look that we had. So we got a breakout above this level. Now we're starting to pull back on Uber here. This gives us the ability to look for a kind of a throwback look, which is a break above, right? Then a move right back below the trend line, and then the move that expands right back towards that high and higher. So looking for a move to eventually bring us towards the 100 level. We'll see if we can get up there into that box and start to make some money, guys. This does not look too bad at all. Let's see if we can start making our way to 100 on Uber. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to the next one. Here's a retail favorite, SoFi Technology. Of course, this one has a little bit of a trend line look, has been in a sideways rectangle pattern since pretty much the earnings. The earnings had popped it up to that level. Now we're looking to break out of this rectangle and approach this high, which is 25.11. Can we break above the 23 today? That's going to be on my radar. Of course, this one's been helped by the big, beautiful bill. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to the next one here. We'll take a look at the different stock. And of course, if you guys got a stock you guys are watching this morning, don't forget, throw it up in the chat. That's what it's all about here. I'm here for you guys, just like you're here for me. Let's get to T-Mobile. Let's go to TMUS. This is not one that I trade often, but the chart just looks so good. And sometimes when the chart looks that great, we just have to catch them. Of course, you can see the levels that are important here. We went to an undercut towards 222s, but ever since that, it seems like we want to hold right around here. And this has been a stock that I've been watching now for a couple of days. I actually created this on the July 9th and was looking for this to move. I actually created this box here just recently on the 24th. Looking to see this start to get the break to the upside. We'll look to see if this can start to push right back up into that area. Came back to the throwback area. Now should push right back towards the 250. Doesn't look bad. And this one could actually help like an AT&T and a Verizon chart to go higher. So if you're looking at plays, well, Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T in play. Also, these are good plays just in case we get some market weakness. When we get market weakness, a lot of times we get this move towards what? Towards dividend players. So I'm going to be watching to see what happens to this. Guys, definitely Verizon, T-Mobile on the alert. And these do have what? Big dividends also, just to keep in mind. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some stocks from the chat. We'll take a look at what you guys are watching this morning. It's good to see you out there, Jay. What's going on? How we doing? And if you guys got stocks that you guys are watching this morning, throw them up. We'll definitely be looking around. How we doing out there, Marco? It's good to see you. All right, guys, we'll keep rolling through here. There's plays on the playbook. We'll go to the Sunrise report. We got some stocks to talk about there. Of course, we'll get into that AMD and NVIDIA talk with the Sunrise. Let's kick things off, guys. Like always, the Sunrise report is here to tell you guys what stocks are moving and why. Let's get to the stocks. Let's talk first about what happened throughout the weekend, of course, as U.S. stock futures inch higher early Monday with the market once ahead on the cusp of all-time high, ahead of the week, packed with, of course, key inflation data this week. We'll get, of course, a CPI report to come in later in the week. We'll talk a little bit more about the expectations there. Dow Jones Industrial Average future was up about 0.3 this morning. The S&P futures also added about a 0.1. NASDAQ 100 futures hovered just above the flat line. Gains were capped, of course, based on a financial report. This one came on NVIDIA and AMD, right? This was the Financial Times that reported that NVIDIA and AMD had agreed to hand over part of their China chip revenue to the U.S. government in exchange for export licenses. And NVIDIA slipped 1% and AMD dropped 2% this morning. But I think these will be short-lived. We can take a look at how the stocks are moving now. Let's take a look at the action there. As you guys are seeing AMD get a little bit of a bounce here. It is bouncing back since that first undercut. But I think this could actually drive it right back towards the highs. We'll see what happens there in AMD and NVIDIA this morning, starting to climb back. There was some negative mixed in here, so we'll talk a little bit more about that, but that was definitely a positive here. Of course, last week we saw what happened in the NASDAQ as we hit the fresh record highs, and the S&P nearly touched another milestone. The Dow did close green, and thanks to a surprise Apple rally, which I don't think it was really a surprise. That's a surprise for what? That's a surprise for everybody that was not here on Trade the Pool, because if you were here on Trade the Pool, you have heard multiple times Money Mitch calling how Apple has been building and building and building, and there's a breakout back above the 210s and continuing. And what did I also talk about? Well, it won't be long till we see probably 250 on Amazon, and that leaves us room still for another 10% run and rally. We'll see what happens here in Apple, as I feel the big boys are loaded in on this thing at 200. Now we could do a little bit of a pullback, maybe 224, 222, but I'll tell you one thing, there's nothing that's going to tell me to get in front of this train, because Apple wants to keep going, and any AI news, new all-time highs really quickly. So we'll see what happens there as Apple continues to push. A 2024 laggard starting to wake up. Yeah, I would keep an eye on this thing. This might outperform all the big names towards the end of the year. All right, let's keep going. We'll talk about more of that chip revenue deal with China, as NVIDIA, of course, they're giving up money here. But what did I talk about AMD's report? AMD's report had specifically about what? That 800 million they were missing out because of their deal with China, right? And how they weren't able to sell to them. Now, this was a crazy kind of move. The US government is actually taking 15% of revenues from each certain China chip sale in return for export licenses to sell these chips. And that's an important news, because that's showing more and more that President Trump is still doing more of that taco. Yeah, his tariffs are still reverberating, and the carve-out shows that the White House is willing to make selective exceptions as a bargaining tool. And what was the number one thing that I told you guys right here on this show to pay attention to in the China deal? It was export controls. These are the types of things that I'm serious. I'll be as honest as I can be. I don't know how other companies are not talking about this, and clearly it was the focus. We could have been making money just focused on the export controls, because you could take a look at how the equipment stocks have been moving. You can take a look how the chips has been moving. There's a reason why. It's Trump playing nice with China, and specifically in the export controls. And we've been talking about this since the first China talks, right? Well, there you have it right here on Trade the Pool. You get it first, not second, not third, not last, like they do on CNBC. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at some other conversations. We'll keep moving out of that. Let's go to AI, C3 AI, as this is a company that I've talked about how it hasn't come back on the AI game and was just an ugly company. Needed to get back above 40 to really look good, and it could not do that. Big rejection on this C3 AI, and down she goes right back down to 14, and probably going to go below that. This is why you don't just believe hype stories. This was clearly a hype story. I still remember seeing a presentation by this company and telling me how their AI was so competitive and so much better than others. The truth is, they weren't. Guys, they weren't. Look at the chart. The chart says it all the way back down. You see the red lines for a reason. This looked like a short, and it's definitely coming and crashing right back down. Nothing that I even need to expand upon. It's nothing that you want to be a part of. Let's go to Ethereum as we see some of those moves. We can go to the ETHU. Remember this slight pullback where it started to break down. I even was able to play some of this breakdown, but look at the catch up, and it's fast there, guys. Another 41%. And you guys remember, I started bringing you guys ETHU on the turn right over here in the 40s. Even when we did this split, I was already watching it back in April. And look at the move higher, guys. Now we're talking 475% for this ETHU. This is why I talk about these opportunities and how there could be such massive opportunities here. I hope somebody was able to catch some of these crypto action moves. And don't forget, we called it to the key the day that BitO started to break out above this 22, looking for the run. It pulled back. Now it's caught right back on fire. Let's see how these crypto stocks start to move. I'm looking for CleanSpark and Mara to maybe make another move higher. We'll see what happens with these. Of course, Circle actually reports later this week, so keep that in mind. Circle's a massive report. I believe it reports tomorrow morning, right before the CPI report. So if there's one way to maybe break that, it's if this this takes an ugly hit tomorrow. It's something to be watching, but I just want to keep you guys up to date with everything going on. We could take a look at the earnings calendar and all that kind of conversation of what's coming this week, later this week, and things like that. I do want to talk a little bit about the event, so we'll get to that action in just a second. Let's take a look at what's coming this week here. I'll bring up in the charts. We'll go take a look at the earnings hub. As we take a look here, you guys can see today we got Monday coming in here. We'll see what happens on their earnings call. This doesn't look bad. Doesn't look like they got bad numbers either. Looks like EPS came in at $1.09. Big beat there. So big beat there. We'll take a look how the stock reacted Monday. Looking really good there. Tonight, we get Oklo. Oklo is definitely one to pay attention to. It's going to tell us a lot about what's going on in the nuclear space. So it could help the nuclear trade or hurt it. We get Archer. Also names that are speculative. It's a speculative week, guys. So we got to pay attention to these. ASTS, another speculative name, right? We'll see what happens. The earnings usually in this one have been really bad. So watch out for ASTS. Even though the stock's been performing, look how the EPS has beat expectations only one time in what? In the last 11 quarters, we're talking almost 3 years, you've only beat EPS once. These types of insights are vital to the way that you look at stocks, guys. So if you guys like these kind of conversations, smash the like and let me know in the chat, what do you guys think about some of these names? What's up out there, Big Milkshake? How we doing this morning? It's good to see you in the chat. All right, let's keep going. We'll talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow, we also get some other big names. And there's some names that I even like FLNC. I'll be watching to see what happens with this one. You can see it doesn't beat reports many of the times. Big Bear AI. So a lot of the speculative names coming in, that's going to turn a lot of these stocks. Even though there's some that will beat, there's some that will get crushed. Of course, a Shoemaker that's been hit hard on the downside. Not looking good, but the earnings have gotten a lot better. You can see in the recent reports, there's more green, more popping away from that kind of estimate. And so this tells me to watch out for maybe a reversal in on. Circle, of course, we'll be watching to see what we finally get from them. The call is also at 8 a.m., so remember that. That's actually important because they could have an okay score, and then all of a sudden, the 8 a.m. call brings some goodies involved. All right, we'll see what happens on some other ones. Pony AI. You see, it's very speculative market, very speculative stocks that are reporting this week. After the bell on Tuesday, we got Rigetti, CoreWeave, Kava, a bunch of names like that are really interested, right? So we'll see what happens there. Globe, Cisco, JD, Deere later in the week on Thursday. That's going to move a lot of these kind of industrial names. And then JD, some China names reporting, NNE. So you guys can see it's definitely the speculative names this week. It's not like there's nothing, but they're not going to be the biggest companies, but more of your highly speculative companies that you got to pay attention to see what happens there. All right, guys, we're almost 9 a.m. We'll keep rocking and rolling here. We'll see what we can come up with. It's another beautiful day there. We'll see what else I got up my sleeve today. It's going to be an interesting one. I'll tell you one thing. We can start taking a look at different stocks. Let's go to Monday, see how that reaction was on the report. Yeah, this is how it is sometimes, guys. Good report on Monday, but yet they get crushed. Why did they get crushed? Let's take a look a little bit further into the report. I wasn't able to dive deep this morning on this one, but let's quick look here as I take a look into what's going on with Monday. Let me see here. Had to be guidance. Yeah, they narrowed their fiscal 25 revenue view at 1.22 billion and 1.23 billion. So it just went down a little bit on the high end. It was at 1.26. So other than that, it really wasn't the worst report. Just goes to show you that it depends on the day that you report. And here, they're definitely taking a hit back down, even though the report really wasn't that bad. Monday, now back down towards the 200. This one looks ugly, guys. Yeah, not a knife that I want to catch, and this is exactly what I mean by a knife, right? That's a big bar down. Yeah, maybe you can go trying to mean reversion trade this, but not anything, at least up my sleeve, that I'd be going for. And just looking around at comments out there from Monday. Yeah, Monday in the toilet. Yeah, Monday's in the toilet for sure. Monday just became Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't even know. But yeah, this company was doing really well and was highly pushed with AI and HR and a bunch of kind of companies out there. But there's a lot of competitors in this space. So maybe that's a part of what happened there in Monday. All right, guys, the show is already kicked off. I've already talked about the Sunrise Report. We've gotten into the playbook. Enough of that action. We'll talk more about the stock market coming up here, but it's time to go ahead and keep things moving. It's time to bring on the man himself, the trading bot genius, I'm going to call him, because guess what? He's coming to you guys. He's coming to you fast. He's been warning you guys, and the event is here, guys. It's coming on August 18th. Let's bring on Michael Noss himself. What's going on, man? How we doing?
Oh, doing fantastic. I'll take a bot genius any day.
Bot genius
I'll be all right
there.
with that.
It's better than the bot guru.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather be a genius than a guru. But then again, there's somebody that's going after a Nobel Peace Prize that after that, I don't know if I'll be even wanting to be called smart. Let's keep it moving. Let's talk stocks and of course the trading bot event, guys, that you guys don't want to miss out. What are we talking about? Of course, well, I'll tell you what. We'll tell you guys a little bit more about this. Of course, you guys can check out more about this on our page and in the link below. If you're not taking a look at the link below, you're definitely missing out of it, guys. But take a look here. Let's talk a little bit more about the event before we dive into the markets here. I'll bring it up on my screen here. Tell us a little bit more about this, Michael. What are we going to be doing, and how are we going to be building a profitable trading bot in just a few clicks?
It's going to be a lot of fun. So we've kind of teased it here before. We're going to be hanging out with the guys from TrendSpider, and also Signal Stack, being the same parent companies of one another. And we're going to teach how you can get an order automated from TrendSpider through Signal Stack to trade the pool. So we're going to build a bot that probably a couple, but one I know that you guys love, the opening range breakout, and just have it by the end of it. We can share this with you, and you'll be able to, on whatever symbol you think is conducive to buying an opening range breakout on, you'll just be able to click a button and it will send the order right through all the way to trade the pool with, profit targets, stop losses, all that kind of stuff already baked in. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited for it. We're going to do a lot of community interaction as well. So, the beauty is we're going to have the CEO of TrendSpider there. So anything that I lack in knowledge, he will certainly make up for. And we're going to talk about, back testing, how you can back test it on different symbols, make sure whatever strategy you're about to put live is profitable, and away you go. It's going to be I'm super pumped for it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, excited for this, and I will definitely be there. You guys don't miss it. How you do that is just hit the link right there. I dropped it into the comments also, so you guys can just click on it. Right now in the description, you guys can just literally see it on YouTube. You can just click right there and sign up for it. You want to be signed up for it, guys. You guys are going to get a little extra, like always, if you're signed up. So, hey, go ahead and click that, guys. You guys can also, when you go to the event, you can, when you go to the site, you can learn a little bit more about it. There's also a great video here by my man. You guys seen this guy, right? Michael Katz. Yeah, so you guys check out, of course, the video to learn more about it. You guys can learn more about the event, of course. We're going to have a great event, guys. It's not just going to be, 1 hour. There's even going to be a giveaway. So, hey, don't want to miss out on those kind of giveaways and things. So definitely register for the event, guys. And all you got to do is just fill out the box and hit sign me up, man.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to have Michael there, right? Again, with CEO of Trade the Pool, and then we're going to have the CEO of TrendSpider. So come and bring some ideas that you may have of things you want us to get through and to test. I'm going to be doing some kind of live trading as we are building these bots. I'll just be hooking them up into an eval account. I'm going to get kind of a fresh eval account. And I think what it's going to be doing, what's going to be kind of fun, is that what I'll start doing is I'll start running the strategies that you guys build on this eval account. So you can come back here and you can kind of see how that's going. I'll show you guys whether or not we blow one up, which is probably pretty likely, or whether we do pretty well with it. And yeah, just going to go a lot. And with this, we're not just launching this in particular. We are going to be launching all kinds of things when it comes to learning kind of bot trading. I recorded a whole, I think, like 5 or 6 part course on A, convincing you guys to become systematic traders, and then B, kind of walking through how to get started down the process, and where you could potentially systematize and where to maybe leave alone, and all kinds of stuff. So just to give you guys a really broad understanding of whether or not this kind of trading is for you. What I do always want to reiterate is that you don't have to go full bore, and I know a lot of people don't, right? They do some sort of combination of, I'm going to systematize this part of my trading, but I'm going to do here, and kind of looking at it as like, what am I bad at, right? Where are my weaknesses? Well, I could either go and do a Buddhist monk retreat or something like that, or I could use technology and try to shore up wherever I'm weaker. If it comes to finding ideas, there's a whole way to systematize that. If it comes to trading ideas, it's fine. Or maybe you're someone who trades them fine, but you don't manage them well. You can systematize that. You can wherever it is that you're weak. I just one that I systematize the whole thing. I guess it means I'm just weak in everything, but you can shore it up. So if you're looking at this saying, well, I don't really want to be a quant, you don't have to be, right? You could be someone who picks your stocks, identifies on the chart where and when to take trades, and lets the bot handle the rest.
Indeed, we'll see what happens here, guys. We'll be looking to see, and of course, how you reserve is just hit the link, guys. So make sure that you're hit the link. You guys don't. I want to hear anybody say that they did not hear. They needed to click onto a link. So there it is, guys. I want you guys signed up. And, of course, don't miss out. If you have any questions ahead of the event, also reach out to us. That could be a great way to get your question answered live during the event. I know Michael's going to be looking for kind of questions like that. Yes. So you guys can definitely drop them in. You guys can reach out to us on Twitter. You guys can reach out to us on different socials. Like always, guys, we're here to help you. So if you have any questions about that ahead of time, make sure that you're going ahead and hitting that link. So, of course, we'll keep it going here. Let's go moving over now. Let's talk a little bit about the markets. Let's take a look at what Michael saw throughout the weekend here, as, of course, looks like we got some crypto moves and different stocks. Let's talk about what's happening in the market.
Well, as always, one of the first things I want to check on the positioning data, seeing, hey, did these guys take any of this opportunity that we sold off or based, or did anything? Did they cover? And no, there was pretty much no change in the positioning data when it came to the S&P 500. If you look at the IWM, it's the same kind of thing. They actually shorted more of the IWM as we started to bounce here. They're getting more and more short, so these guys are getting pretty lofty. The only thing that they're currently long is the NASDAQ, just a little bit. Do NQ. Right, so they're a little bit long the NASDAQ, which is great. So that's offsetting somewhat, but that's 33,000 contracts long, which is nothing compared to the 139,000 shares are short. So with that said, I'm still going to be kind of buying dips, gravitating to the upside. So far, every bit of news has not mattered. Every bit of earnings not mattered. It's just been, if the market dips, you buy it. And until that positioning resolves, that's what I'm looking to see as well. Now, I always like to start looking at the futures as opposed to the SPY, at least for Monday, just because it shows me kind of what happened overnight. And you can even do, as always, I'll give the tip of, you just type in SP 500. You can find the CFD, which is going to give you roughly the same idea as the futures. It's that 24-hour a day type thing, except that 1 hour overnight. And it's really just kind of been a choppy mess, right? If we take a look here on so that's Friday, and then here's Sunday. Where's Sunday opening candle? Right here. So we opened pretty much unchanged, and then we've just been kind of chopping sideways. So what I'm interested in, what I think we just need to watch to keep our life simple, is just this box, right? We opened up Sunday night, and we've just been trapped in here, chopping sideways, nothing really happening one way or the other. And then from there, we just got to, like Mitch mentioned, take a look at Bitcoin, right? There's some crazy move. We had this massive pop. There was a big liquidation I was reading. I could find the tweet, but essentially somebody was very short Bitcoin. If you take a look at the BTC futures, They have been short Bitcoin the whole time. So again, having a bad time here. Not nearly as bad as the market. And again, shout out retail. Retail has been buying Bitcoin throughout this. The institutions have been shorting Bitcoin through this. So I think this may have just been a bit of a Sunday night liquidation that happened. You can see as soon as we kind of from Friday we gapped up and then just ripped. If we look at the actual instead of Bitcoin futures, just do the actual cryptocurrency. This was very much felt like anyway a liquidation move. There was a lot of people that are short. You can even get deeper than anything in the Bitcoin shorts. You can track them because they're all on chain. That's why you'll see these Twitter accounts that track these things and say, "Hey, there's been this amount liquidated. There's a couple $100 million was liquidated throughout here of shorts." And now, how mad are they that we've come back into? So for Bitcoin, I'm just watching the area we broke out of to see if we come back and test that and bounce from here. But I don't know what you, Mitch. I'm expecting a pretty choppy one. That's why I think I'm just going to focus a lot on this range right here and see if we can resolve it one way or another, or whether we're just stuck in it because there's no real news or anything to kind of kick us out of this range one way or the other.
Well, if you were thinking crypto, I think we are FUCK.
I know. I see what you're bringing up, and I saw it too, and I was like, "No, come
It's
on,
done.
don't
It's
do
done.
it."
I'm sorry, guys, but we got to do it here. It's just how it goes. Unfortunately,
What a bummer.
Barron's has just killed crypto.
Yeah, yeah, I saw
This
that.
is
And
all
I
you
was
needed
like,
to do. This is all you needed to do to
"Come on,
kill
guys."
crypto. Let's
I
put it
almost-
on the cover of Barron's.
I almost want to pay them and the Economist. I just want to go to them and say, "Listen, guys, I'm going to tell you stuff I'm long, and I want you to print the most negative article you possibly can, and just put it right on the. Here's my
And this
portfolio."
is the best part. They're blaming it on Trump in the title.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Is the Trump administration setting up for the crypto market for a fall? And best part, they added another bonus. It's not just crypto to the end. It's also the end of quantum as we know it, guys.
All right.
How quantum computing could upend Bitcoin.
So
they're pretty much saying that quantum is going to ruin cryptocurrency. And of course, we all know how we're not getting access to quantum.
how can I mortgage my house?
Yeah.
And triple mortgage my house just to get more and more. Like, yeah, I
What a
really
gift.
want them to.
What a gift.
I just send them my portfolio and say, "Hey, here's
the
all the things I'm
graveyard
long.
on it.
Put some bad things against, like what take my psychedelic holdings, do a full front page cover on how psychedelics are bad, and then the thing will just rip to the moon."
Well, at least the cannabis stocks are still moving higher as there's some rescheduling talk trying to leak through into the White House. Honestly, I don't even know if anything's actually going to really come out. It's just a bunch of talk, bunch of artists that have been artists and influencers have been trying to push to getting Trump to at least talk about his promise of rescheduling cannabis. He's not saying that he's going to legalize cannabis, but reschedule it. And at least from what I remember hearing and all this, didn't the DEA or just do this already and that was already done? But no, what happened was there's a legal battle within that, and so they need the president to kind of do his rescheduling and set that up. So we'll see if this actually does make it higher. The only thing is that every single time these stocks have been at these levels, they've been selling spots like resistance, right? They've always been sells. So that's the question. Is it finally the turn of cannabis? Well, I won't even call it this time. I'll kick it to Michael.
Well, I'm very biased here, right? Because I'm long. Not any individual names. I'm long this MSOX, which is just MSOS, the kind of advisor shares cannabis thing. It's just triple leveraged, right? And one of the reasons for it is just I have noticed these bases resolving a lot lately. A couple of the names that I have, like one of these, I think we've already talked about this outlet has been a perfect example. What we talked about, DNA is looking good in these bases, these low bases. You find a lot of these have been in these bases for 2 whole bear markets now and have survived. That to me is interesting. So that's why I'm long some of this name, not because I think, we're going back to what $800 or something ridiculous. Just if we can bounce a little bit, that's interesting. And one of the things I wanted to show you guys, one of the reasons for it, is not a huge short float, but they've been shorting more into this area, into this down move right here. And we're at all-time highs when it comes to their short float. So there are more people short this particular security than ever before. Again, it's not a huge amount. It's not 30% of the float or something crazy like that. But more shorts than ever, I think, is a good thing. Means probably if you go through the individual names, there's a lot of those people short as well. So just taking a quick bet. I don't know if there's going to be a sell the news event. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for to get out. I'm up pretty nicely on this trade already. So if we end up, it gets to scheduled and then it closes lower on the day, that will probably be kind of my kill shot or something. But I'm looking for, and if people in the chat find them, let me know, because these low bases, these stocks that they just have not been able to kill, those to me are the ones that I'm really, really fascinated with and I'm really interested in. I want to be buying these low bases as they start to break out until this trade stops working, because it's been quite the moneymaker for the last little bit anyway.
Yeah, definitely quite the moneymaker indeed. We'll see what happens with these. It's a nice little push. We can get to some more stocks. Looks like Rando's talking a lithium stock there. LAC up 10%. Of course. Yeah. And that's just the way it is right now. I mean, lithium stocks have been hot. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. So we'll see if these names can continue to chug along.
Interesting news.
Hey, like I've talked about, man, I try to get you guys early to the theme so that you guys can make your calls. And what is being talked about? Of course, China.
Yeah, a shutdown in a mine in China is boosting lithium prices. So for whatever reason, they had to, they had to shut down a mine, and that makes sense, right? If it's a large mine, if it supplies a lot of lithium to the world, all of a sudden it's not producing, then the price of everything should go up. So that's a nice little trade there. And then a lot of these, I was looking at these on the weekend too, and a lot of these are pretty short as well, right? So if you look at like LAC, it's not crazy, and thankfully they've been covering it, but still 13% short. And it's one of those, right? Show me these. Anytime you guys find them, stocks that just haven't died in like a year plus and have been putting in these low bases. This one's even better because it's kind of hanging out at this prior low. But this kind of stuff has really, really been printing. And the trade is pretty simple, right? That's one thing I like about it, is that if we break out of these bases, I'm long. If we fail and go right back into the base, maybe, the midway point or something like that, I'll get back out. And then if we break back out of the base, I'll buy it again. So
the truth is we're talking about the wrong one. You should have the quality one, right? Because forget the speculative names. I've been trying to give you guys the quality names also.
SQM.
Did you take a look at SQM this morning?
Yep. And that's right. If you zoom out,
you know what I mean?
It's the same kind of thing, right? It's gone.
And big bases, right? I think that's the important thing too, like you're saying here. And I tried to point to this monthly chart like so much for you guys here, because there's very rare times that I'm like, Michael, this is not for you. This is for your son's account. You know what I mean? Like there's rare times you'll hear me even like joke around with that kind of stuff, because the truth is what you need is a stock like this that has yearly long trends, and there's a reason why it would gain hot. Like there's so many things that are going to be coming into play with lithium. It's no longer just but EVs and car batteries. That's actually just a small smidget of the focus on lithium now. And that, I think, is the difference here. There's always like a fundamental change, a shift, or something that happens for stocks to get the appreciation. Now we're starting to see that. We're seeing catalysts come in the news, right? So much news talk, right? And then the only thing you need from here is now technical signs of breakouts. You're getting them now, right? And so this is why I always talk about like having like multiple variables. This gives you what? high conviction trades, right? We're always looking for, we can get tons of trades every single week, but what I'm really looking for is for something to give me high conviction, because those are the trades that we can take bigger and we can hold for longer periods of time,
Well, and
right?
that's the biggest thing, right? Is I always say there is income trades, right? And then there is wealth trades, right? So an
Exactly.
income trade is like, get me in, I want to make a couple percentage move, I want to get out, right? Day
Yeah.
trading for me is all potentially about income, right? Where I just want to eh, put out, 10, 20 trades that day. I want them to net out to be a little bit profitable, and then we move on. And then slowly over time, we just size that up so the income becomes better and better. When it comes to like my psychedelic holdings or some of my crypto holdings or something like that, those are designed for wealth, where I will hold on to them for weeks or
Yeah.
months or years even, as long as they kind of trend in my direction. So yeah, it's having a technical reason for entry, a technical stop like any other trade. It's probably just wider, right? It's 20% instead of 2. And then, yeah, having the kind of conviction of your idea to say, okay, I'm gonna hold on. So, my example one of them would be this kind of outlet thing. I've been watching this thing for like 5 years, and it's been doing kind of absolutely nothing. And if you zoom way out, it got into this base in February 2023, and it's just been chopping around ever since then. So now it's finally broken out.
Yeah.
So my stop is like $5, right? So it's a pretty wide stop. It's like almost 50% of the position. I'm trying to get this thing into the 20s or 30s, and that may take weeks or months or whatever. But these are just different trades. The amount of money I put in it is larger. The amount of time that I hold is way larger, and I don't really care. I'm not watching this day to day, right? And that's the other thing too, is if you have a high conviction trade, the worst thing that you can do is micromanage it and watch like every little tick and say, oh, it's down today, or oh, it's up today, or something like that. You have to have, right, this is what I'm going to hold until this happens, the right profit target, or a theme gets developed or something. So like lithium might be, I'm going to keep holding lithium until they come up with something better for batteries. And that could
Yeah.
be a year from now, it could be 5 years from now, it could be 10 years from now, right? But the idea is that is if there's no better battery, they're going to need lithium. So
Yeah.
that's your premise, then have at it.
We'll see how QuantumScape maybe starts to react, right? And battery players and things like that. You guys can keep watch on themes, and that's what I'm always about, guys. I'll let you guys know. And ALB is another one, right? I've talked about this one, and they're doing the same thing, guys. Long-term trend line breaks, and that's what we need to look for, especially for themes style of trades. And these are very similar charts. They've had their breakouts. They've tried to pull back, now really reloaded, and now are really starting to get going. And I think that by the time we start to really hear about this trade, I'm telling you guys, there's going to be some people on CNBC that start to mention this SQM, but maybe by the time it gets to 50s, I want you guys yelling at the TV screen. Well, Trade the Pool gave it to you guys first. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look around. Hablamos Política, PR, Puerto Rico. Out there this morning, getting
Glad
his
you could pronounce that.
3%. Hey, cash up, man. 3%, and I'm gone for the day. Well, if you're in Puerto Rico, that means at 9:24 you're done for the day. That means you go get yourself a nice little coffee, a nice little toast, and you head to the beach, my friend, because ain't nothing better than that, right? So head to the beach, go enjoy it, and let us know. Where in PR are you? I actually have my dad lives in PR in San Juan, and my wife's from PR. So hey, there you go. I got some PR ties for sure.
Yeah, and I see more and more traders doing this, where they're basically just trading the pre-market. Right? They've got
Why not make your money? Get out.
so much action. You don't have the games in the pre-market.
I mean, you and I both know this, Michael. If you're able to make money and get out, what are you here for? Like at the end of the day, we're here to make money. We're here to make our families a little bit better, but also know when the getting's good and know when you got to get out. If you're able to just make money in the pre-market and make it consistently, and maybe you just realize the intraday just drives you mad, well then what are you doing, right? Just get in, get out, start the day early, and go enjoy your day. Or maybe find another way. Like I always say, trading, it doesn't need to be your main income. It can be a great side income. Something that pushes you forward, right? Maybe it's what you use to actually invest long term, right? Because I know a lot of people struggle with this, right? They have their their income that they already kind of manage. They know exactly where expenses are coming. They have a little bit of savings, but they don't have this big block to put into like investments. Well, this is the type of things that I think are very important. You got to have those side hustles. I always think of trading as first a side hustle before it becomes your main hustle, guys. So,
Yeah, and again, it's all about size of the account and capitalization, right? If you have a $1 million account, well, you only need a 10-20% return a year in order to do a 6-figure plus income and have a good time. If you have a $5,000 account, you've got to turn that over way more often, and
yeah.
it should be all about, like we just talked about, it should be all about kind of wealth at that time. But you're right too. And then the other thing is that just because you're done trading for the day doesn't mean you're done trading related things, right? So
Yeah.
go to the beach, bring a book, bring a trading book with you, get an audio book,
Or just take a break and come back, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? Maybe
Well,
you
no,
go to the gym, and
yeah.
you go work out, and then you can come back and then start getting ready for the next day, right?
Well, and
I
I know a
mean,
lot of traders who they do their day trading in the pre-market and they're done. And then they do their swing trading in the afternoon. So they don't want to be
exactly.
here for the morning. They want to go
Yeah.
and, let me wait out all the craziness. And then after lunch, I'll go through all my swing trades and go from there.
Yeah, and I think another thing to do that's important is pre-market perspective, intraday perspective, middle of the day perspective, and then end of the day perspective. There's different slots there, and it could be changing throughout the day, right? What you thought in the morning is not the same thing you think at lunchtime. And I think that's very important because you might be able to catch a swing, right?
Right.
What I mean by a swing is a change in the action, right? Everything was pointing to the upside in the pre-market. The intraday started to go to the upside, but then by lunchtime, it's been a complete dump. Well, if you came in at lunchtime, then you're like, you've already kind of were looking at this in the morning and it was looking really positive. Now you've seen this shift in dynamics. You can make bets on that towards the end of the day, right? Where a lot of people they get chopped up in that intraday action and that beginning part, and then they're not even able to make this perspective change towards the afternoon. So let's keep going. We'll go take a look at some different stocks that are trading today. We'll go back to Michael's charts here.
Yeah.
Anything that's on your radar towards the bell, what's on your watch list, and I'll bring a name or two. Bell coming real quick.
Yeah, a
About
little
a
bit of
minute 30.
a pull. Just wanted to show that we're a little bit of a pull down. So on top of the area that I highlighted on in the yes there, I'm really watching this kind of low right here as well. And the other things to just keep in mind is right, the RSP is outperforming, which is interesting, even though we're pulling back here. So kind of one of those everything rallies. IWM is doing really good as well. So pretty much across the board. Some things from the VWAP fade strategy is just Monday and rum are the only two that I've had. So this one's kind of been bleeding down here. Got to get over VWAP. That's a long way away. It might not be any trigger here at all. And then, Rumble. This one already triggered to potentially fade, but bouncing again. So I'm just watching those. So those are the only two I have from that strategy. And of course, I've got these 6 other strategies that are all queued up, and we'll see.
All right, we'll keep battling out there. Last week was able to bounce back in the swing account. That's still the account in kind of the best shape right now. Day trade account's been a little bit of a struggle last week, just up and down action, right? Keep getting up about like 300 or 400 a week, and then down 300 or 400 a week. So just got to keep battling in that account. Definitely the swing accounts when things are going well, and I'm going to keep pushing to that. We'll see what happens towards the bell here. 9:30 coming faster than you know it. There's the bell. Let's go trading, and let's be smart out there. Of course, the market kind of pulling back before the market open here. Let's see if it starts to get a little bit of a lift off right quickly. We'll be watching NVIDIA and AMD, of course, and wouldn't you know it, more mentions of export controls were very few. We're talking about it ahead of our stream. So I'm glad that at least we've been on top of that. Not focus so much even on the rare earths mentions, because those have been mentions from China and the US deal, but we haven't gotten specifics. Export controls, now that's a little bit better. and has really affected these stocks, AMD included and Nvidia, right? Now AMD looks like they'll have 800 million. You get 15% of that to the government. Well, that's not too much off of that 800 million. I'd rather take that to the bottom line than give it all up, right?
Well, and what Apple did, where they just basically they gave him a golden plaque. They're just like, here's your
They're
golden
just
plaque,
we'll,
and
we'll
just
just put you around this, right?
yeah, we'll just kiss the
And
ring.
and we were all on top of that Apple. I'm telling you, man. It just seems to me like if there's one place the big boys wanted to hide in, they got in, and they got in Apple. So that's probably my favorite stock towards the end of the year, at least for the big boys. Even better than AMD, I think, because AMD's already had its really nice run here. Like, yeah, it can continue to climb higher. I think maybe it gets to 200, maybe even breaks 200, but you're not talking too much further than that. That's about 20%. Apple, I think, eventually might go through the high, and we might be seeing this back through 250s. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. A big part of me is now only thing that Apple needs to do is announce some AI talk.
The just
We'll
right
see it.
off the bat, this PBYI took a little bit of a short in
PB,
this. PBYI, Puma
Puma
Biotechnology.
Biotech. Yeah,
Fancy. So a little bit of a trade in that, and then a little bit of a long
daily
in
chart doesn't look bad.
SDLP. Oh, they're coming in now. Got
Yeah, that 370 doesn't look
SRK.
bad at all. A lot of support at that 370. You broke it as resistance this morning, but there was daily support there. So good looking chart there for your play there on that biotech.
Already mostly tapped out in buying power. So we'll see what happens here. Short a little bit of this SRRK. Looking for a breakdown here. Whatever GCT is. Short that guy. Short a lot of things. So I, for one, am now hoping that the market pulls in just a little bit. But if we're looking here just right off the open, there's just not a
T-Mobile
lot really
ripping,
happening.
guys. That's one name that I talked about the upside. If the market was down, those would look really good. Communication services actually leading the market here right to start. So Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, all in play.
Yeah, a lot of little bit of a sell, nothing crazy, but a little bit of a sell here off the open. Just something to keep an eye on that we are pushing a little bit. So yeah, we're pulling down a little bit here. If we end up kind of breaking this low, that will be interesting. But we need to see what's happening at this low, right? So I'm just looking at this. So this box, for those who are just joining, this shaded box, this is just the overnight action when it comes to Sunday night and what's happening there. So if we're inside this box, again, I'm not really trusting the sell-off. I'm not really trusting the rally. If we break down out of this box, then maybe it's a little bit of a pullback day. If we break out, maybe new all-time highs. So that's good as well. Someone was asking, what is the NQ ETF? And the NASDAQ is just the QQQ, triple Q. If you want leverage, there's TQQQ, which is leverage to the long side, and then SQQQ is leverage, is an inverse ETF. So this will go up as the Nasdaq goes down. So that those are the Qs are the Nasdaq, and then the SPY is the S&P 500, which is again a little bit of bleed down, nothing crazy. It's not like super exciting action. We got the 2-day VWAP here at 636.51. So we just need to see if we get there, what is going to happen if we can hold that area.
All right, looking into my watch list, see what's leading the action here. Bull leading the action in my watch list. BTBT showing up, of course. FLNC has earnings tonight, guys. That's lined up, and it's pushing strong to start the day. 940s, not looking too bad on that name. I'm also watching AT&T to see if that can pull back to 28.17. Bloom Energy doing well today, SQM, and Tesla. Wouldn't you know it, guys? I talked about how Tesla could get hot. It's been hot, hot, hot since that day. We've been talking about this day since Wednesday. And I was talking about how Tesla had those two bottoms right around the same 305 level, and back through 312 could start the run. Well, did it start the run? It started a nice 8-9% rally back to the trend line. So now we're right back to the trend line, and I was looking at this bunch up right here on the chart. Now we're starting to go higher. Now you've gotten that nice bullish engulfing candle. You went right back to this trend line that we drew before this happened. We drew this trend line when? July 23rd, updated it on the 28th when it was right here, looking for at some point for that trend line to come into play. This is why I drew all those trend lines without even data points in the range, because I'm looking for an approach to the trend line. Now it's a little bit of a sell signal that it's right there because we still could get a pullback into the range. So we'll look to see if it gets towards the 357. But I think at some point, Tesla might be able to get a run to 400 here. Next thing you know, Tesla's looking awesome. This is why I say sometimes on Tesla, just look at the monthly. The monthly's still really bullish. Regardless of all the narratives, the monthly still looks prime.
Yeah, we're looking here at Apple is
Apple
selling a
strong.
little bit down. So I don't, it's had a big day yesterday or big day Friday. So a little bit of a
Yeah.
sell today doesn't really, worry me one way or the other. The SPY's bouncing a bit, still under VWAP. Just not a lot going on. A little bit of a chill day happening overall.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. It's just rotation, guys. This is what this is. This is this market. I tell you guys all the time, the market rotates massively right now. And every day that there's a down day, it's not a down day. It's look for the sectors that are hot. Today, even UNH going up today. That tells you enough, right? So there you go. Cigna
So,
Group higher, Alliance Health.
yeah,
I could maybe
XLV.
trade Alliance Health, but you're seeing healthcare up, communications, cyclicals, energy, financials. What's down? Technology, utilities, and basic materials.
There's
So
UNHG. If you're looking to get UNH, they did the
no, I
leverage.
wouldn't touch UNH. I
They
wouldn't
did
touch
the
it with a
leverage.
10-foot pole, man. But that's all for everybody else to touch. I'd rather touch a stock that I believe in, like Alliance Health, to get through 300 again. I don't want to touch the name that is viewed as a negatively. I want to touch the name that's viewed as positively, but has pulled back because the industry has pulled back.
Yeah, baby out with the bathwater.
You get what I mean? Yeah. They don't want to do the one that could potentially really have audit conditions that could destroy the company. I know a lot of people think that UNH is bound to come back, but that doesn't mean it has to, right? Especially when it comes to audits and things like that. Not what you want to hear, man. I'm telling you. One bad report, one thing that one person messed up in this company could bring this company to half of this, even more further down, right? Next thing you know, you're back into this space. Back into what? 2012? Right? So I don't know, man. This is too dangerous for me to call the bottom on UNH.
Yeah, they said Enron was bound to come back. It
Yeah,
could
this
be.
Enron was bound to come back.
It could
Yeah.
be. I look at it as systemic. I don't know when. It's going to bounce or get bailed out or whatever it is. But what they should do, the CEO of UNH just needs to go to the White House with a golden plaque, and then everything's forgiven, right?
Tesla
Didn't
pushing,
Apple
man.
taught us? Apple should have taught us. This is how you deal with
Tempest.
it.
Tempest is a good one today, guys. It had pulled back on Friday with their earnings, and everyone was watching this on Friday for the rip. What does it do? Of course, it rips out today. About $2 already, guys. So big move out the gates here for TEM. I'm looking for a nice big pullback here, but I don't know if we'll get it. Really nice flag pattern out the gates here if you guys were able to nail that Tempest. So really nice flag pattern right back through the VWAP to 6280. Looking good.
Yeah, just watching the market here and not a lot of anything, right? We sold off for the first few minutes and now we're right back pretty much to the open. So the candle, and we're just inside that range that I talked about in the pre-market. So,
Look at that Ethereum, though. Doesn't want to stop.
Ethereum's looking great. Bitcoin was way higher in the pre-market, pulled back just a little bit there.
Yeah, but it goes to show me that you don't want BITO. It just goes to show me that you don't want BITO.
Well, and always make sure I'll grab this. Always make sure again you're charting the real thing, right? Because if you look at ETHU, it paints a way different story than the actual Ethereum, because it doesn't show. What I'm worried about here on Ethereum is look at all these rejections it had over the weekend. 1, 2, 3. So this is 4,300. So, if you get back up there for an intraday trade, that's great. But we had 3 rejections right in a row at that 4,300. So I want to see that kind of break and hold, because you look at the daily chart, you can just see, right, 1, 2, 3 topping tails. So there's somebody either shorting into that or selling at that price. When they're done, that's what we could need to actually explode higher. However, we know we broke these prior highs and we're pulling back to test it. So I think this sideways consolidation is great. It's just so weird to trade something that is a 24-hour market, looking at something that trades 6.5 hours. Right, you get such a different picture. Same, gold's a little bit different, I think, just because there's so much liquidity in it, and this is why I always want to look at like GC, or I guess you can do XAU USD if you're on TradingView and get the CFD there. But yeah, always make sure you look at that. And then Solana, what's interesting to me is Solana is trying to get through this anchored VWAP from all-time high. I've been waiting for this for some time. That's not that. Yeah, here, where it's gotten through it, and then it's come back down and tested it, and now we're pushing up here. So Ethereum and Solana are the two that I think are going to do way better than Bitcoin, just because they're kind of the higher leverage, kind of crazier plays.
Yeah, I am avoiding those plays like the plague now with that Barron's cover. No for
Weren't
me
they
anymore.
negative? Wasn't the Barron's cover negative? So doesn't that mean you should be buying?
No, I just if it's
Or maybe
even
I
on the
misread
cover,
it.
if it's even on the cover.
Oh, usually I just like to fade what it. If they say, "Hey, we're not going to
Oh
use
no,
oil
I
anymore,"
just avoid anything on the cover.
oh no,
For me, it's just the cover. You can't show up on the cover because they don't know if it's going to go up or down. They just want to talk about the hype and put the hype on the cover. That's scary sign for me. Looking at Uber, nice setup recovery off the 89. I think this can go back to 95 and 100. It was on my playbook. This would be a kind of the swing play, right? Undercutted the 89 and then recovering right back up. So looks pretty good here. I got a risk off of the kind of the 89 spot, buy here on the 90. Doesn't look bad. I might take this kind of like a trade off of it if I can get it in the VWAP, but this is the type of play at least that I want to start coding in for like a swinger, but we'll see what happens. I don't want to throw this right now into the swing account just because it's $89 and it's just too expensive. It's going to take way too much of my buying power to try to get this, but I do like the setup, right? That's why I even brought it up.
Yeah, so Uber is interesting. You see, I have this AVWAP drawn from the kind of April lows, and every time we've hit that, we've bounced.
Yeah.
So as long as we're holding above that, I like it. It's an interesting push higher, and I like it because I hear a lot of negative press about it with cyber taxis or whatever, and the more people hate something, the more I like it.
APLD looking interesting for me right now if I'm looking for a stock that's actually holding up here. So, of course, tech is not really kind of leading the action, but it did bounce. It's back to green. That's all we care about. So look to see if that can start to lead some names higher. I think it's going to be a very few names that go higher here, but you can find it. Oracle strength. Nice undercut of the 246. I talked about how Oracle was holding on to that 90 MA. It's recovering really well there. There's APLD starting to get the move there. I'm going to try to ride this move a little bit. I'll take a little bit here, look to reload some in the VWAP here. I'm on the day trade account. I'll show you guys that in a second here. Let me just pull the positions to the right hand side here. So you guys can see right here, long on the APLD, but looking for some other ones too, guys. I think Mara is setting up there, Clean Spark, but they really need to ride up above that 11 and like really push for me to even look at them. Another thing that I wanted to look at was Quantum. See what happens to IonQ. Of course, it reported last week. I think this is very important to watch these names because when they report, after their report, is really when you got a little bit further insight. Will these make a kind of a run number 2, right? Remember, these really haven't gotten a run number 2. They've gotten that first push, and ever since then, they're kind of trying to get back to those highs, but really haven't gotten back to that kind of big rip. I think it's very important to watch how these perform this week. A lot of speculative names in the earnings coming this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the smaller names, the big guys are quite out of the way, and now we're looking at these little ones, and sometimes they can be really good sentiment indicators and things like that, just showing, hey, this is what we're looking at, this is what we're interested in. Yeah, so it again, very, very interesting look on what's going on with some of these. And I'm, for one, looking for any kind of anything to shake us up here. Anything to push us around would be fantastic, because the only thing I see for Monday is old Trumpo giving a speech. So we'll see if he breaks us or if he rips us to new all-time highs. I think equal, both of those things are as likely as the other one. So I'm seeing 11 a.m. I don't even think this was on FinViz in the morning. So it might have been
Here's
viewer.
a cannabis play to play today. It's had a pop up. It's about $1. It's above $1 play maps. So you're talking your weed maps.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like pretty much
Where to
Google
find it?
sucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Google sucks at searching. Like you can't just put weed in Google and it tell you where to go find weed because of safety and things like that.
Mhm.
So a lot of people use technologies like weed maps, and I think there's one more. I think it's like something fly. Weed fly or something like that. So pretty much it tells you where the dispensaries are. You can order through them and things like that. So
The
there's APLD going for it, man. I'm gonna add here on the 1450 breakout. I'll let you guys know about this one. So this is, of course, you guys see me trade this name plenty of times. It's on a pullback on the daily, looking for it to rip right back up towards 15.
Well, in the one thing I wanted to point out, right, we have the SPY just kind of flat, like up 0.05%, but we have RSP up 0.3%. So we're getting massive relative outperformance to the every large cap stock versus just the biggest guys out there,
Yeah.
which is great. Right? It just shows that it's not just the big cap that are rallying. It seems like we get like a shift. It's like every second day. One day it will be large cap rallying. One day it will be the smaller guys rallying, and we just kind of have this shift or this bop back and forth. And we're in that phase where we're getting a lot of this other stuff that's starting to move along. So I, for one, am here for it, right? IWM even up 0.4%. So IWM doing even a little bit better. That could just be a bit of a beta play. But watching this SPY versus RSP is a very interesting little indicator for me, just to show where's the action. And it makes sense if you look at the Qs, they're doing okay. But then if you look at something like XLV, has just been kind of rocketing right from the open. If you look at let's just look at XLF, it's been doing well. So yeah, go out there and look for your sectors. Don't just trade the big guys.
Looking to see QS get another reload towards 9. So QS, we talked about it earlier, how it's kind of moving with these lithium names. LAC looking good there for Rando. I hope he's able to cash in there. But looking at this pullback in QS, it looks interesting for me. We'll see what happens. Coming back to you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm just watching, right? I just want to highlight how range bound we are, and to make sure that everyone knows that
Yeah.
we are range bound, and not to get too kind of worked up one way or the other. Seeing Ethereum start to continue its push or accelerate its push higher here. And I want to see this. It's at 40, kind of 300. This is around 43.50, where we rejected from this level multiple times. So ideally, we get up there, maybe consolidate for a bit, break through. We could really see some Ethereum plays go. And then with that, if you want equities, MSTR has just been shooting, or MSTU if you want to trade a double leverage Ponzi scheme, only an $8 stock. That's a good one.
You guys that I was able to trade really well on Friday, coming and breaking 10. I'm just looking for a pullback now. I missed this one out the gates, but it's been driving. It just went down to the support and just ripped. Daily chart looks great above 10. Could take the swing here and risk till 9. But I'm really looking for just a pullback back towards like 970s or 960s to kind of get into this. We'll see what happens. Big push there for you.
Well, $10 right there is the 2-day view app. So if it is going to stop and take a rest, it seems like a logical place to do that.
To do it. All right, QS also pulled back there. Didn't get to the $9 spot here, but I'm looking at it and maybe take a shot here off of that $9. Doesn't look too bad at all here. So I'm going to take a little bit of a shot here and risk off of the right underneath towards like the 890s.
Just making some updates to some systems here. I'm going to take that. This is one cool thing, right? I've got one system that I've noticed is kind of really weighing me down recently. So I
Hmm.
just went in and made a little note and I said, okay, so starting tomorrow, we are going to reduce the risk taken by that system until they even out. And it's just a simple way of saying, hey, you're not doing too well. So instead of just like killing it or getting rid of it, if my other systems, maybe I'm risking $100 per trade, this system I'll risk 50 and then I'll watch it. And as if it starts to recover, it starts to do a little better, it starts to, make money again, then I'll start to maybe dial it back up.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at my P&L today and all of the other systems are doing okay. And this one's just not performing. So
Yeah. Chip player today that's semiconductor equipment name looking good. AMAT's looking great. Remember, I talked about this name plenty of times, guys. The gap fill right back into play. So these stocks are just coming right back up. So KLAC looks awesome. I talked about that gap to fill. Look how that gap filled. Boom. Earnings knocked it down. Gap fill right back up. So
mhm.
really good look there, guys. I expect to see these kind of continuing to climb. Your Lamb Research falls into this. Other names will fall into this. Look for a run in kind of TSM. Another one that I'm looking at for a potential run in the semiconductors. Look at that 250. How like apparent 250 would be above 250. So just to put another name on the radar, coming back to you.
Yeah, just talking about FMCC and FMNA, they're going to move together.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of chatter. Again, I own some just from this purple line right here, swing algo that I had. Yeah, just a lot of chatter about potentially IPOing these things again, making them, having the government spin off what they bought them, making them public entities. Hopefully, public entities that have a watchful eye over them, because these were really the culprits when it came to what was happening there in 2008 is these guys were supposed to, again, for those who don't know, there was all this, right, 2008 and mortgage collapses and all that kind of stuff. These guys were supposed to be insurance, right? These guys were supposed to be the backstop to all that. So everyone goes, listen, it's okay, I have insurance, I can go crazy. That them and AIG and a couple other names, it's like, hey, I'm going a little crazy. And yeah, if you go back on the monthly chart, right, these were big institutions, right? Again, their point was to insure. So imagine you buy house insurance because you're worried that your house is going to flood. Then all of a sudden your house floods and you go to your insurance agents, they go, yeah, we don't really have the money to pay you guys out. And that's exactly what happened. And that's why these things, they ended up going to near zero and getting taken over by the government because they just did not have that insurance that everyone kind of claimed that they did and that they needed. So yeah, so now that the government bought them out in, I think the dollar range ages ago. Now it's like, well, now they're $10 and mortgages are doing way better and there's a lot more regulation. So that hopefully that won't happen again. Maybe you spin them back out, get them out from the wing of the government and ends up being a pretty good trade, right? If you can buy something in 2008 at like say 50 cents and then sell it in 2025 for a 2000% gain, great. And I think it's just all part of that. Hey, it's better for us to have the money than to hold whatever instrument this kind of thing is.
Looking at Rivian's triple bottom, but needs to get above like 1230s for me to even look at this. I don't want to get too excited until it gets above 1230s. But watching a QS bottom around 9, I can add here, but I'm going to add closer towards 890s. I do believe in this one for a swing, so trying to build the position there.
Yeah, this is a I love pullbacks, right? And I think that's the easiest way to play swings is to look for something that's incredibly strong and then has a pretty nice substantial pullback. It starts to dig in, means you're not chasing things that are moving higher, which is, the death nail to a lot of swing trading strategies.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for those patiently for those pullbacks. If you get those pullbacks, great.
I'm going to cut out an APLD here if it doesn't bounce. Looking for a cup and handle if it comes back up. But other than that, ready to get out here. Just watching it.
SPY is still done near nothing today. So this is why there's not a lot of activity. We are back down, like we rallied and then pulled back a little bit. My PBYI is pulling in PBYI. It's pulling in just a little bit here. I don't know why I have a 4-minute chart, 5-minute. That's about it. I've got a couple of these other shorts on. I'm underwater certainly today on these shorts. There are a couple of these that, again, I'm looking at their. I've seen these pop up and they weren't the best. They're not paying me as much as I'd like, so I'm reducing them, and that's how it works. I went into kind of the bot here in the system and I said, listen, today might be a loser, today might actually even be a stop out, but I'm okay because I just say, hey, this one strategy seems to be weighing me down a little bit, so let me reduce that, and that is this particular. Let's use SRRK for example. This strategy is kind of just a continuation, right? It's looking for a base on the 30-minute chart, right? A big down move followed by some sideways consolidations. This is like a bear flag kind of type of setup. The what I'm looking for is just a continuation of this bear flag. So these have a lot of potential, but the win rate is lower. The win rate's sub 50-50, whereas the rest of them, the win rate's like 55, 56%. And I've just noticed that in this particular case, I got a lot of these trades and they all happen at the same time and they're all kind of working a little bit against me. So what I do is say, hey, this strategy, just reduce it. I've missed a handful of trades because the buying power got maxed out pretty instantly. And then I just start to take a look at those. So TIGO would have been one.
All right,
That would have
guys,
been
taking
three.
a speculative play here. I will just let you guys know about it. I am actually short here some BMNR.
What? Yeti. Oh, that would have been short some Yeti right there. Yeah. So if I had these trades reduced in position size, I would just be doing kind of a little bit better overall, right? It's kind of how I'm looking at this. So the that's the game plan. That's kind of what we do. Yeti, shout out Yeti. Tax talking about coal. Let's take a look at BTU. Not doing a whole lot. Trying to get over this prior high right here and just fighting those. And then you're short Lily. I got out of my Lily trade a while ago. A long time ago. Thankfully for a profit before this breakdown happened. And now, yeah, I'm this is a bit of a dead name to me.
All right, guys, I took a big swing in BMMR to the upside on Friday and was able to make some money, and I just cashed it towards the end. And I was in the swing account and made it over 20, kind of like 20 points there. And that was a really great trade. I'm looking at it right now on the short side of things. I took like a 50 share position right now to give it a little bit to see if we'd break right
Ooh,
back down. But definitely a high
bold,
speculative bet here.
bold betting against the Ethereum or just betting against the hype of the.
Of the Tom Lee.
Yeah, I kind of like that, right? Because again, we have this massive resistance. I'll just highlight it up here in Ethereum that happened over the weekend. And we've hit this 3350 like 5 times from reverse. We pop back up to get there, so maybe we'll fall from that as well. Yeah, again, still not doing the best today, but again, that's fine. So it's one thing I love about systematic trading, right? We're talking more and more about systematic trading as this event is coming up that we're going to do next Monday. And it's one thing that I love about this particular style of trading, because if this was me, and it looks like I'm probably going to get stopped out for the day, if this was me doing this, I would be beating myself up and, I did this thing that's wrong and all of that. Now that I'm, more quantitatively minded, it still sucks to get stopped out for the day. You don't like to do it, but you can start to go through and you can say, okay, what happened? Well, this particular size position, this strategy went too big, too fast, and it didn't give me the room to take other trades, and it didn't give me the room to trade around this particular positions. So I very much easily know what I have to do now, and I'm just going to scale down this position because I'm journaling all of these trades. I'm going to scale down this position, and I'm going to reduce the risk on every single one of those trades by about half, and then keep the risk of the ones that are doing better the same. And try that, and I'll run that back test where that's fine, right? I'll make sure that if I reduce the size on these setups, that it doesn't screw up my back test. And if it doesn't, which I could show you guys if you're interested, but if it doesn't, then great. I now have had a problem. I've been able to figure out a way to deal around that problem, and then on to the next day. Whereas if it just feels more personal when it's me that gets stopped out, when I do something dumb, as opposed to this, which wasn't something dumb. It just seems like this particular position is sized a little bit too much. So I'm going to reduce that just a little bit.
And that happens all the time, guys. Probably gonna get stopped out in BMMR. It's coming right back towards the high. I'm near the high for the stop out, but just want to make sure that I have it ready there in case it just shoots off. So that's one thing you got to do. You got to protect yourself on a high flyer. See if APLD can at least get some buying to come back into play. QS is one that I'm looking at for a potential add on the swing. That's the only one that I have in the swing account. Communication services starting to come back a little bit there. So AT&T and Verizon, not bad looks if they can start to come right back up. How's the SPY looking now? Starting to hold a little bit there. Qs also.
Yeah, not a lot from the market side of things.
TEM
Right?
pull back to 62 looks interesting for me.
Like we are pulling back higher, but again, if we go to the ES in the middle of the overnight range, smack dab in the middle of what happened on Friday. So again, not something that I'm going to be really aggressively trading too much personally.
QS still looking really good here. I like that name. Just I have it on the swing, but it looks really good. It looks like it's building up here. You hasn't even wanted to pull back off of that $10. Keeps holding the momentum moving average. So for right now, I'm just waiting on that one.
The quad.
BNMR rejected that move to the downside. Now starting to come down here. So I might go for an add if it goes back to my level.
The quad U.
Okay, looking interesting
rando.
in that. I just got some type of alert. Missed it there.
Feels like you can't short anything for very long. Yeah, that's bull market behavior. Right? That's what we are going to see again. I'm going to keep pounding the table until they're no longer very short. And when they're no longer very short, then you may see some sort of revision to this. But as long as we continue to see, again, I expect some sort of hedge fund explosion at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be because the market ripped. It could simply be because they get redeemed. Because if I'm looking through my hedge fund and they're short, I am calling that guy and saying, "You give me my money back. What are you doing? We're in like a raging bull market and you're short." And enough of those people happen, then they have to shut down their fund. So I am running this back test right now as the market's not doing anything, just to show you guys what I've done. It takes a while. 25
Out on
years of
BMNR, squeeze there to 66 there, guys. So squeeze in Ethereum names. That's why you want to have your out ready for it.
Monday is getting very close right here. So this is one thing that I want to watch, this Monday.com. This is just the VWAP to VWAP setup I've talked a bunch about. So we're just looking for a break back over VWAP. Hasn't done that all day. Breaks back over VWAP. We're targeting the 2-day VWAP with a stop below the day. It's not going to be an amazing risk reward trade. Again, I'm stopped out of my trade the pool account. So this will just be done in the personal account. Right now, I'm mirroring everything across both of those accounts. So there's it's a 1.75 or 2 hour trade. It's not bad. It's not crazy. It's not bad. And again, the simple idea behind this one is just that there's a lot of kind of academic evidence and studies out there that the when you mean revert or when you gap, there's usually gap too much. I think people get a little bit too excited, especially in the pre-market where the liquidity is low and things like that happen. Certainly doesn't mean you always have to do that. It just means that quite often you mean revert a little bit too much. So um, you're trying to make sure that you're fading that and not necessarily continuing. Not saying that gap and goes can't happen, and there's a lot of people who make a lot of money doing that. It's just this particular strategy has been studied to say, hey, if you spend quite a bit of time over VWAP and then you fade right back through, sometimes you get a pretty substantial move to the other direction and a nice little trade happen out of that.
Looking around out there, definitely BMMR did push, but could keep come very back down. 66, definitely a resistance there. It stopped really quickly, so something tells me that maybe some big shorts got in there on that push through 65. So watch for a quick sweep on Ethereum names right back to the downside. So that's what I'm looking at for potential bets. It's just been a little bit too far, too fast. So keeping an eye on those types of bets. Did already lose on 2 trades, so got to be smart. Just try to make some of the money back here.
PMNR is trending #1 on StockTwits right now. So that's
Yeah, I mean, if they were on Friday, I was calling it. It was perfect for the upside. I don't know if it's perfect for upside today, but hey, it is doing well. So it's a little bit back and forth now. It's a little harder, I think, to go after it today than it was on Friday because it was right on the daily support.
well, and Friday we were getting some movement in the market, right? I just want to highlight
Yeah.
everyone that this is today's action, right? No opening range will break higher, no opening range break lower, just consolidating really, really tightly here. So to see a move in either direction a little bit higher, then you need to end up seeing this break one way or the other,
I
or
need to be
break
patient, but
down.
I really do want to take a bigger short on crypto at some point later in the day. I think it's just setting up for the big reversal overnight. And that's the thing about crypto is that you mentioned it, right? I mean, you don't know what happens overnight. And just because you're in a position that looks good today doesn't mean it looks good overnight. And then by
Mhm.
the time you come in the morning, it could be a completely new market. So I don't
For
know.
now, just wait. Once everything's a 24-hour market. But yeah, it becomes really hard. It's why futures didn't, when they launched futures, they didn't do amazingly well in the Bitcoin sphere. And a large part of the reason for that, I believe anyway, is that, so, okay, what do I do on the weekend? Right. So I have, I put all my money into my futures account and I trade my Bitcoin futures. And then on Friday night, they close. And then crypto continues. And if you've ever traded crypto, it's always some random Sunday somewhere that something crazy happens, and you end up getting smacked, and it's like why do that, right? So it's just not right, not really what I want to see. So here is, I think, is it done? No, yeah, this back test taking forever. But yes, I want to stay on this chart and highlight this as well. This is not only I've talked about it a bunch, but this is the overnight action, right? So this is the overnight ES action, and we could not be any more in the middle of this range. Steve, if he's listening, would be proud, right? It's 50% mark. Through this, maybe we start to drift to the upside, or under this, maybe we start to drift to the downside. But as long as we're inside this little purple box in the future, just buy the dip, sell the rip, right? Trade that mean reversion. I am, in my opinion, as opposed to right trying to chase any big moves here, because
The quantum move has been really strong today. That has nice breakout there, guys. So I will say that I was watching to see if IonQ did the move. It did it, and the rest followed. So that's actually a good move today. That's holding well. But of course, there's some earnings later in this week that could affect those. But they started the day well.
XLV tack. He's looking for the healthcare ETF next
SoFi having a good day today. That's a miss on my part. Was on the playbook, just didn't really watch it. Nice undercut at 22s. Strong move today in SoFi.
So this, grab that. Ooh, 4. So this is, let's see if this will be big enough. Grab this. All right, so this is when I made a change to the bot. I just told you guys because I got stopped out today because one of the strategies is a little bit too big. So first thing I do is I just go and rerun the back test. So this is the back test from 2000, the year 2000 to 2025, running these 6 current systems, right? And you can see it didn't really affect it too much. It dropped it upped because these are very volatile strategies or sub 50-50 win rate strategies that have huge potential. But just because you have huge potential doesn't mean you're a good trading candidate for particularly prop firms where I'm trading somebody else's money. I just noticed that these things have been weighing me down and getting me close to stop outs a lot of days. And then today actually, got me in the stop out. So what I went is I said, okay, let's reduce this position size by half. But I don't just want to do that willy nilly. I want to go back to my back test and reran it. And I looked at it and said, okay, nothing fell apart. Still looks good. So I will, starting tomorrow, be back in the saddle, running these systems, running the 4 that are doing well at $100 risk, and running this one that's doing poorly at a $50 risk, right? And this is just to walk you guys through the journey and show you that this is part of it. Is you have to be able to notice these things, and this is why it's not a build a bot, go to the beach, take a nap. Right? If you look at any of these strategies kind of in a vacuum by themselves, you can see there's some periods of time where they do horribly. 2014-15, this one lost a lot of money, and then
Long
you can see 2024, 2025, this one lost a lot of money, but the gray line is what we're focused on, which is the aggregate of all of the strategies. And they only had one bad period, and that's 2019. So we shall see.
Got some TEM there on the support there. Also watching SMR to see if it starts to bounce off the lower Bollinger Band. Looking to see what happens to those nuclear stocks today, seeing if they're going to get the bounce. Quantum names were bouncing good. Coin now starting to get back up. That could help Hood start to get back up also if you guys are looking at that name.
Yeah, both those are going to be really Bitcoin dependent, which is kind of holding on here, not rallying, not tanking. We have Ethereum, again, holding on, not really moving. I don't like that it's dying short of where this big weekend resistance was right here. I would like to see it get through that zone, but the fact that it's holding, I guess, is something.
Pony getting strong through the 15, guys. That's a name that I think reports this week tomorrow. So daily chart trying to break through the 15-13s. Maybe trying to run it ahead of the report. Pony.
EPR.
SoFi doing really well. I can't even catch that thing on the pullback. So I'll let you guys know if it ever pulls back, but strong.
Oh. EPR, interesting. Yeah, Pony, that's a Chinese AI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really nice tight base for a really long time there on Pony.
Yeah, all the market wizards wannabes are watching that one. I think the real market wizards are like, no, that's too speculative of a name. I'd rather look elsewhere. That's what I've seen out there.
For just a little bit. Or I robot it. One of us robot it for a bit. I don't know which one.
Looking around at the small names to see how those are performing now. There's not too many names. There's this Hura, Hura. Hura.
That's a good one. CAC is buying Circle.
There's a lithium Argentina stock that's doing well. LAR. Never traded that in my life, but just
Yeah, lithium is a what they'll do, and this is the same thing you see when gold starts going, right? Is they find the most obscure, low float,
Yeah, they can run
you
that one.
know, yeah, like just let's grab the craziest thing out there, which makes sense, right?
Yeah,
You get that extreme leverage behind you of this weird junky thing that just has lithium in the name. And then you go from there, right? Like I've been talking to my buddy JC, and he says this is the market. This is the kind of market that if your stock has an animal in the name, you buy it. So like Big Bear, you just buy it. You look for anything with an animal in the name, and then you buy it. It
good
ends up
lord.
doing well.
I hate when people say things like that. They just so. But that's JC. He's just so irresponsible with his call outs sometimes. But
Oh yeah. Well, and
that's what makes TV, I guess.
he does it on purpose. Yeah, get people riled up.
Yeah, but the only thing is for me that like takes it like important. That's why I don't even follow him, guys, because I don't like people that like joke around with things like that. That's not something that I think is should even be said. But yeah, hey, it is what it is.
There's a question, Michael. Did you trade all day when I was working at the prop firms?
Is that
No,
what happened?
no. When
Yeah,
I
he
was
was stealing
working,
your money, Shaw. He was
yeah,
taking it.
no, I did not. I did not trade all day when I traded with the prop firms. I very much long lunches with
Ooh.
sometimes a few beers, but it would be everyone was. It was cool to see because what it was a physical prop firm, right? So we're all sitting in a room, it was a stinky room with just a bunch of dudes just sweating, and pretty much like bone silence, really focused. You would hear call outs of tickers, you'd hear call outs, all kinds of stuff. When the market was active, that first hour of the day, everyone was laser focused. And then starting at 10:30, there was more conversation about the game. There was more conversation about, politics. There was off topic kind of conversation. And that's because that's when the market kind of dried up. And then people would either go to lunch or you would hang out at your desk. But we had like a little putting green, like one of those generic office putting greens, and like
Hmm.
a pool table and a foosball table to kind of have something to do to get away from the screen, because a lot of people wanted to stay there in case something crazy happened. And most days they wouldn't, so you'd be hanging out, you play some video games, you do whatever, and then everyone would come right back into action on the close. So yeah, they're on the open, they're on the close quite often. But that middle of the day, people would be you'd watch people intentionally distracting themselves, right? They'd be going through the trades they went in the morning and journaling those, and that type of thing. But absolutely not. Also, I was in university for a lot of it, so quite often what I'd do is I'd schedule my classes in the afternoon. I'd go in the morning, I'd trade, and then I'd go down to the university and study in the afternoon. But no, just like here, it's that right, that opening. You can chart it all the time. Most volatility happens on the open, and then like Mitch was saying earlier, sometimes you get these kind of swing moves into the afternoon where if you're running all day, right, maybe you get a little bit of a top and it pulls back some of that, or something like that. But no, the prop firms that I've noticed are laser hyper focused for the first hour, kind of a little bit focused for like maybe the next hour, and then gone. Some people trade the close. A lot of people would do imbalance trading, which just kind of means little option stuff that happens in the last like 15 minutes of the day. But yeah, very much you focus when the getting's good, and then you're gone when nothing else is happening.
Yeah, that's how it is a lot of the times, guys. Watching around the market here to see what setups are setting up here. I'm gonna cover a little bit of TEM here because it's really getting back to my break even. Need to make sure that I at least cover myself if it does pull back here. So glad I did it because it pulled back. Literally, I was saying it. So there, we'll see if TEM can actually get moving. Looks interesting, but needs to get back above 62 to really start rocking and rolling. Looking to see if healthcare can get moving today. Was leading the pack. Now it's communications, technology, and healthcare at the top. So technology has taken lead now. One that is trading really well, guys, that I continue to watch for liftoff app loving is just ripping, guys. I think a part of that is how much TTD got hit, but TTD is bouncing back today, guys. So I know that there was some people trying to buy that dip. It is bouncing back a little bit today. If your legs are looking at that name as a falling knife type of purchase, I can't do those, but I'll
I'm
put them out there
really
at least.
interested in this XLV. Just opening 5 minute range and then consolidation under VWAP ever since then. So I'm trying to take a couple like discretionary trade a day here or there. Might just be a buy of an XLV through if we close a 5 minute candle through VWAP with, this swing low as a stop, just to see if we get some continuation here because it's been strong today.
Ugly.
And yeah, just chopping sideways there. So
Got
we
cut out there in TEM. It's been an ugly day in the day trade game for me today. So just going to keep battling, but definitely not looking good.
and you can always, generally speaking, right? Again, I've been stopped out today, right? So it's not a good day in the day trading game for me either. But you can see kind of this is I think is the reason why, right? The SPY is just not doing anything to help us.
Yeah.
It's not giving us any trend or momentum or excitement in any way. It's just kind of hanging out, and you can't control these. So the goal is to lose small on days that the market's just going to do this on you, and then kind of stay along for later. It's when things happen. Could later in the day you could get a trend. Yep, you want to make sure you're kind of around for there if that's part of your strategy. If not, but we're range bound, so you just don't want to go crazy when we're range bound, right?
Mm-hmm.
After 12 p.m., I do software engineer stuff, watch YouTube videos, very similar. Yeah, and that's, again, very common. I do,
That's
any
needed anymore? I thought the code taking over your job, man.
I would say, what do they call it? Vibe coding now. That's
Vibe. You just vibe and you
vibe
talk to
coding.
the AI.
Yeah, and that's what I'll do. Like, so for example, the note that I gave
Vibe.
myself about lowering this one particular strategy that got me stopped out today, and I've noticed it's been underperforming
Yeah.
overall. That as soon as we're done here, I'm going to do that. Right? I've got any of the content you see me make on the channel happens there as well, and just you you find your time in order to trade, and then you find your time to
Yeah.
work on your trading. Right? And when we say done trading, we don't necessarily mean right go get hammered. There's a lot of things that you can do that are trading related that aren't trading, and I always kind of equate it to like a professional fighter. Professional fighter isn't sparring hard all day long. He would injure himself, he'd get his brain knocked out, it just wouldn't be good. Professional trader or fighter is spending a lot of time, conditioning work. He's spending a lot of time watching tape of his opponents. He's spending a lot of time doing a lot of these ideas, a lot of these different things. And I think it makes perfect sense to do the same as a trader, right? Most of your time should be spent on doing trading related things that aren't trading, and then 10 to 20% of your time is actually trading. Whether that's you set your alerts and you go do things and wait for your alerts to get hit. If you're more of a swing trader, great. Whether it's someone like me who most of my time is spent monitoring my bot and trying to build new strategies or refine certain things within the bot,
Yeah.
great, right? Whatever it is. But yeah, most of your time should be not trading, especially when the market's doing this, right? We talk about it all the time, gas pedal days. This is not a gas pedal day, at least not yet.
Looking at the short on BMNR for a swing. I don't mind
Oh,
it here. This 65. It just seems to me like there's a seller that like a shorter that's taking this 65. Because every time we're getting above 65s, they're coming down with wicks. That's a telling sign that there's selling pressure above this 65. Yeah, I'm gonna take a little one here, just a 30 share position. Got to risk like $70 to risk above the high, but that's what I'm going to do here. I'm risking above the high for BMNR because I keep seeing this selling pattern into the above the 66. So every time it goes above the 65s, it runs into it. Ran into it here on the push, then comes down and runs into it here, comes down, runs into it, comes down, runs into it, comes down. At some point, that could be a big turning spot where it just makes this big bar down Next thing you know, it's on the halt downside, right? So it doesn't mean that it's a monster trade for me. It just means that I'm going to take a small size. I made like over 200 on this name on Friday to the upside, so I'll take a little shot to the downside. See if it can start to crack here.
Yeah, it's a nice look on that guy for sure.
There's just a lot of 15 minutes that wicks there, right? So what we need to do is see this go from green to red and then really collapse. But the key is also giving yourself the ability to give some range, because if you don't give yourself range, if you try to do like a 10-cent stop on this thing, I guarantee it, there's no way of holding it. Right? There's no way of 10-cent stopping on a BMNR. It's just not going to happen.
No, that thing, right? You're talking dollars
Yeah.
in a stop
You need
loss, right?
range. You need range to give yourself the ability to get outside of this.
You need, yeah. No, you just need to let them go, right? You need to let some of the trades, you want to be tight with them. You want to be precise. Some of the things are just going to be crazy. This is one that's going to be crazy. So you just want to give yourself a chance to be right and know that they're certainly not the case. I'm just waiting for.
ETHU also on that short on the day trade side of things.
I'm waiting for kind of anything to happen.
There's nothing going on, guys. I'm taking shots for essentially nothing. But let's see if the SPY can come down here. It seems like the SPY's been trapping on the upside. Quick sweep down here. That's what I could look to jump on. VIX could be also a play if that starts to spike like that.
Oh, and this will be a big frustration for me because again, you guys saw I was short a whole bunch of stuff off the open, right? Just sized too big, right? So I didn't give them the chance to
play out
to go. So if they reverse and push lower, then it would have been. And this is one while we're talking about all this systematic stuff. Again, one of the things that I'll do at the end of every day is I reconcile the trades that I took versus the trades that should have been taken from the backtest and see what the difference is there. Yeah. And if, say, this is a pullback day in the market, I will show a loss on the real account and then there'll be a profit on the backtest account. I have to go through and reconcile all those trades and go, yeah, this is why I didn't achieve this result that the backtest would have said. So then I modify and change and kind of go from there, right?
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens here, guys. I think it's back and forth. I think you're just seeing back and forth action there. Staying with the strength, I think, is definitely the move. Alster is definitely in the strength. I saw Rando mentioning that earlier. That stock's just been up and down, but it's been a really good name. I'm glad I've been talking about it and at least brought it up here multiple times here. We've traded it, and I've done well on it. It just has a tendency of doing these waves type of moves. It's doing pretty well right now. Archer tonight reports, so that's why I think you're seeing ARCAD and some names like those names kind of hanging in there, trying to battle. But we'll see what happens out there, guys. It's a little bit of back and forth right now. SBAT doing well there. That's another one. This is one that I would maybe take a look at other than BMNR. I thought this one could get going today. Did do the undercut on the 24 and then really started the rally off of that.
Yeah, I'm looking here. So Monday just triggered into, grab this back. Where am I here? Yeah, it says Monday just triggered in this VWAP strategy. So looking for a break of the VWAP. I took right there. So the target's kind of 195. Stop is worst case 175, but more probably in the 178s, 179. So ends up being roughly a 2-to-1 risk reward. I'll take that all day. Again, just looking for a slow drift back up just to this kind of zone right here, and then take that and move on from there.
All right, BNMR coming right back up. Might cut me out again. You got to be able to be, one of the things, especially with swings, you got to be able to cut them, get back in, cut them, get back in. That's just a part of the game. It's part of the accuracy that you're looking for. So we'll see what happens here. QS still looking really good. About to get cut out of my last day trade at least. That would be the last one that I would take on that side of things. But we'll see what happens with that one. Still going to give myself the range of the kind of the resistance right there on Ethereum. We'll see what happens. There's BMNR right to 67, cuts me out there. So it's about a $70 loss there in the swing account. Looking at that one to see what happens there. QS starting to come back here, so might take a shot here to add to QS as that looks better. No pullback on that one. APLD still hanging off on the bottom. Looking around out there, guys.
No bouncing QS.
Definitely one of those days where it's just not the trading day. It's not gas pedal day. I've been gas pedal, been paying the price for it.
Take a look here, just on the streets. Nothing really except that TKO Paramount trade. I know there's some people that are watching that thing. TKO Holdings Group. And what's that? Paramount Global.
Para.
Where?
Mara trying to recover 16 for those that are trying to trade those. I've been watching MSTR. That's not had a bad day. It hasn't really taken up here, but it's trying.
MSTR. Oh, trading is dying this morning. Switch over. MSTR.
Yeah, it's just a opening rip type of day. The one that's been doing the climb back, guys, and definitely didn't trade it is just AMD. We talked about the pullback to the daily, how the gap made sense for it to come right back and gap fill. There's the gap fill and higher, now trying to go right back to the resistance, 178, almost back to 180. I'm just annoyed that I don't have this from 116. I still remember that day. Just got chopped around there, and they were just trying to get me out. But, I mean, AMD's been the best bet since then. Definitely best looking chart, at least I can see out there since that breakout. NVIDIA is still looking well here for the 184. Talked about TSM, the 250. TSM starting to get back at VWAP. We'll see if it gets towards 246 today. Out there in Ethereum, that's the last one for the day trade. It's been an ugly day trading day today, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes. You win some, you lose some. Mm-hmm. And this account's not looking good anymore on the eval. So at this point, I'm on like full tilt mode. Let's just bring it back or not burn it to the ground. But hey, that's just how it is on the day trading account. So what I'm going to be looking for is a later in the day bigger Ethereum short. For right now, leave it alone. Wait for trend line breaks to see what happens on that. TSM starting to come back down. Did the SPY break there? It's just hanging on the bottom end.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, guys. It's still just a trap to the upside. You know what we've been seeing mainly? It's just leak in the intraday, leak in the mornings, drive it at the end of the day, or drive it overnight. So if you're not playing those plays at driving it at the end of the day or driving it overnight, well, guess what? You're probably not seeing many returns in the intraday.
Yeah, and this is, again, why the strategy that I've lowered the risk on is the only one that's a trend continuation strategy, right? The mean reversion strategies are the ones that I'm going to leave with their initial risk because it just seems like that's the kind of market we're in. And mean reversion, generally speaking, you'll make money more frequently. You'll be right more often, but the amount of money you'll make is smaller. Trend continuation, you're right less often, but the amount of money that's possible to make is much bigger. So my theory is, right, if I lower the size of the continuation kind of strategies, well, then I'll, be able to make sure that I'm not risking as much on that intraday basis because, like we mentioned, what I bet is going to happen, just because of my luck, is that we're going to completely kind of fall apart here, maybe go into yesterday's range, and solely because I was short, right? And if I was able to hold on, then that would have been a pretty good gain after that. So we are hanging out. So this shaded box right here, I guess, is a bit of a preview for what we're going to be talking about. Is my opening range break strategy. And we'll go over this more next Monday when I talk about this. These are my trading view charts. I just switched over to, because TrendSpider has been, or no, the other way. That's my TrendSpider charts because trading view has been no fun today at all.
All right, definitely extended here on BMNR. Keep seeing that extension away. Now it keeps kind of rejecting 68s and above here, watching to see what happens to see if we get another expansion candle to 70, or do we get off the top end of the Bollinger Band. We've been riding it up all morning, looking to see if that trend starts to change. We just put a wick through it and then kind of pulled back. So just keeping an eye on it, not trying to be early anymore, just trying to be late, but waiting for the big bar to the downside to show up. Him's pulling back today. That one is on the pullback. So is Palantir. Just calling out names that are actually still red. It's not many.
No, it's
TEM got me out. That one still looks good above 62. It stopped me out, guys, around like 61.50s, but it does look good on the 15-minute. If you look at a 15-minute chart, TEM doesn't look too bad there. Just needs to recover 62. So at one point, if healthcare can lead again, and in the last 15 minutes, healthcare is actually red. It's 0.02 back. Basic material leading in the last 15 minutes on the bounce, but looking to see what's going to lead again. It's a lot of mixed noise in the overall from the open. That just tells us more and more how we're getting the chop.
yeah, and you know, I'll find it for you guys again. But I've done this for you a bunch. Buying open.
Pullback day for coal, seems like. How's Starbucks doing? That pushing today? It's starting to recover. What's up out there, chat? How we doing? Tuning in, guys. I'm going to take a moment here to tell you guys a little bit about, of course, our bot building. If you guys don't know about our event, definitely you're missing out, guys. Check it out, guys. We will be doing a bot building event with, of course, Signal Snack and Trend Spider. My man Michael Noss is going to be there. Of course, we'll have others there, guys. Don't miss out. You guys want to catch this. Definitely. Hey, I'll tell you one thing, guys. I know I'm going to be there. Get to the event, guys. The link is down below. So if you guys haven't checked it out, definitely take a look. Link is down below for you guys can click to sign up. It's going to be on August 18th. You guys don't want to miss it. It's going to start at 11 a.m. Eastern time, go all the way till 2:30. So definitely smash the like. We'll see what happens out there. Giveaways included and building a bot. Don't want to miss that, guys. So we'll see you there.
It'll be good. Yeah, we'll be giving away not only some evals for people who are showing up who want some free evals, but we'll also be giving away the bot. Now, it's not going to be just a fully, right, this is back tested, right, everything is there, but it will be, here's how you send an opening range breakout immediately to trade the pool directly from your account. And that in and of itself is very exciting because now if you're someone who can just guess the stocks that are going to be in play the most and have the best opening range break plays, all you have to do is put them towards the bot and away you go.
There's a break back above 62s for TEM. So here's that recovery that could come back into play. I'm willing to take a shot here, see if I could come back on the day with it, at least come back to kind of survivor day, right? Don't need to come back on all the losses, just if I can bounce back. It doesn't look bad at all here. I did see the market look a little bit better there. So BMNR did take off there, continuing. Ethereum names continuing. So that could help the market kind of continue to drive by. Qs are still above VWAP, but the SPY's below VWAP. That's the split there that we're seeing. You see how the Qs look very different than that SPY. Let's see if the Qs can lead here. And then I'm looking to see if healthcare can get green again to try to help this Tempest right back up there to 65s. So it's about $3 upside look, but maybe about $1 on the downside.
It's funny. I'm in a little chat with a bunch of other traders from FinTwit, and they're all in there complaining about TradingView. So certainly not just me.
TradingView's doo-doo.
No, it is king.
I think it's doo-doo, man. Any web browser based thing to me is doo-doo, but
I can send orders right from here to trade the pool and to my broker and have it auto trade fully. I love it. Right? It's
that's
just,
a plus. But my thing is the computer takedown of web browser based apps, man. It's
Yeah, well,
Chrome's fault, but
again, talk to me when you can chart out crypto. And I emailed them what I think last week, and I said, listen, guys, I'd consider you if you guys got with the industry that is the biggest over the last X number of
there's
years.
some old dinosaur that's running this company, Michael. So I don't expect
Listen,
them to change.
I
Some
just want to be
old
able,
dinosaur that doesn't want to be a part of the
let,
environment.
let me chart, probably the most important new asset in the last like 100 years, please. And the
I
data's
don't even
free.
understand it though, because they make their own indexes, which is hard to find. Right? There's very rare
Yeah.
places that have their own indexes, and so essentially, there's no reason why they can't do it. They just don't want to.
A lot of these companies have server tech that's so old that it needs like a break to recalculate things overnight. And as soon as you put crypto in there, you
It
can't do
starts to
that
break
anymore.
stuff. It starts to break
It's
stuff.
it's like, yeah, because it's just going 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
And it's no excuse, right? It's not like the crypto's new, you know?
Lily on the bounce back. That just goes to show you, it's like the beaten down sectors are getting a little bit of some relief rally today, which is holding up the market somewhat. But I think if it wasn't the relief rally, the SPY would have already dropped. It's just there's some relief rotation in healthcare and other places that are actually holding the things up. And as long as technology can stay green from the open, we know how those stocks drive the market and hold the market higher.
Mhm.
So it's still leaving room here for a rally. I'll take one more shot here on this TEM off the 62. It just slightly undercut the 62. So we got above it, below it, above it, below it. Now kind of have this inverse head and shoulders pattern on Tempest in the 1 minute. Smaller time frames, you won't see it, but you see this inverse head and shoulders off the bottom. You see this is the head area, left hand. Let's draw it out really quickly here. Head I always draw as a circle because that just looks better. Left shoulder, right? Your right shoulder, right? You can draw to this resistance so it looks a little bit better, right? Draw the box to the resistance. Now you need to draw what's called the neckline. Neckline would be on this first resistance here to the left-hand side. So this is kind of more where your kind of expansion should start coming into play, where the strength could come into play. Let's see if it gets back up there for an inverse head and shoulders play. And then back above VWAP will be that sign that it gets the strength it needs to run. We'll see what happens on Tempest. Still got this QS. I actually added to it on the swing. You guys can see 500 shares here, 906. Looking for this to start getting the rally. The daily chart could get back above 10. If it could get back above 10, we'd be looking a lot better here on QS. But just keeping it kind of simple right now. I like the hourly chart also. The hourly chart just shows me that it keeps building, building, building here. If it can make an hourly run to 950 and maybe 970, well, then I'm really in a really good driver's seat here. So we'll see what happens.
I'm with you on that chart. I really like the look of that one, and I
On
like that
QS,
it's
yeah.
everything else lithium EV type
Yeah.
related is going, and it's just going to be part of that basket. So when
Yeah.
people kind of hit the button to buy, they're going to buy a lot of that stuff. So yeah, I like this.
And I always think about, I want to go with the big boys. Believe in Toyota's believed in QuantumScape for too long for it to fail.
Yeah,
Sometimes like they're too big for them to know that I want this company and exposure for it to let it fail. And why? Because they want their SSD battery, they want their solid state battery for the Toyotas, and if they need to help them, I think they'll help them to figure it out, man. It's like why are we gonna do all this testing? Let's go to a company that specifically is focused on this,
yeah.
figure out the solution, then we'll work out a deal, and then we'll just have it in our vehicles put in, versus us do all this research.
Well, yeah, and if we got to give them some cash, right? If we got to,
Just take a
send
stake. That's all they're
some
doing.
resources over
Yeah, just
there, by all means, we'll do it. But and I like this too. So this blue line, this is the anchored view app from this gap, right? Because this gap was obviously what we call CMTs an igniting gap, which just means it gaps and then it kind of changes sentiment enough that it starts to run.
Yeah.
And you can see we're kind of trapped right under that, and we've hit that a few times. So I think
There
through
you
that,
go.
if we can get through that area, that's an interesting one. I was also just looking at the short flow chart, which I really like.
You finally pulled back there, so around like under 970s, I wouldn't mind taking a shot to see if it can get back to 10 later in the day.
And yeah,
Um,
they didn't cover very much on
and not
this
covering.
US. They covered a little bit, a little tiny bit. They went from 17% to 16.5
Hmm.
short float during this move, in which it went from $4 to 14. So yeah, to me that's interesting as well, is that you may have some trap shorts if we can get back through that zone.
Maps recovering. That's a dollar stock, of course, cannabis stock. If you guys want to take a look at that one, smaller names, I'm just running through them to see what's holding up. That Hura is still holding up there. That one might make another chance for 3, but these small ones aren't looking as hot as they were.
Nothing from this. I'm
They're all
watching this.
chasing BMNR and those names, right? So,
What S bet?
which actually did put in a little bit of a bottoming action there. So, or topping action, BMNR.
AI. Ooh, wow, what a reversal there.
That thing's spiking.
Yeah,
Man, that thing is that's an ugly, ugly stock. But
yeah.
hey,
Well, I
that's
just
how
looking
it
for an
goes.
intraday. I missed this. This was like probably the
Yeah,
cleanest VWAP to VWAP trade I've seen in a long time. Just breaks you there and then gets your
that's where
2 day
you're at.
VWAP. You move on. You never care about this thing again. I'm still just kind of tracking my MNDY. Right? Nothing really has happened since I've entered it. I don't expect anything to really happen for most of the day here. It's just, can we get to the 2 day VWAP before we break the low of the day? Again, taking this on the personal account because I got slapped on the trade the pool account, but that's fine. I've readjusted and have rerun my back tests, and they're actually looking much better, reducing those sizes of those two positions. I actually make a little bit more, and when I'm right, I lose a little bit less when I'm wrong over this 35,000 trade back test. So yeah, so it's looking good. So I'm going to give that a shot tomorrow, and we'll just more room, right? It's a it's a very interesting balance of I want to risk enough that I'm kind of threatening to get stopped out somewhat frequently.
Hmm.
I don't actually want to get stopped out, right? So
Yeah.
it's the balance of, because if you trade too small, excuse me, you can actually just get chopped up with commissions and things like that. So you want to trade big enough that it's worth the time, obviously, and it's worth the energy, but you don't want to get too big where you're blowing up accounts and getting stopped out. So that's, now that I know the systems work and the ability to auto trade them work, it's this, we're doing things on the edges now, right? Can we
Hmm.
make like an extra, can I shrink it a little bit or expand it a little bit, or maybe get a little more buying power to this strategy versus this one, and just little kind of tiny tweaks here and there throughout. And that's what it ends up being for kind of ever, right? I'm still doing that with my swing trading strategies, which are perfectly profitable and things that I make money trading in my own account. But it's still, you're never done. You never just say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to take a nap now. We are getting a little bit of a push down here on the SPY. So
Yeah.
what I tell you,
Stopped out of that TM when you were talking there and just took a little shot in that BMNR. I'm trying to bounce back, but it's an ugly day here. So just
yeah,
holding on by the seat here to see what happens. Spies have been the one that's dragging us, and it just broke. So watch for the Qs to come down with it. Qs are coming down really fast there. VIX is starting to spike, so that can be one way to play this, or to at least get some safety. So I'm watching that as a potential safety play here. Might have to get rid of
watch.
QS if it starts to break down below the 890s.
So right here, where we are right here, is the 2 day VWAP. We came right smack dab to it, this yellow line right here. So we hit that 2 day VWAP, And now let's see if we hold. Do we just bounce? It would be very fitting for how choppy today's action is if we do undercut these two prior lows and then just bounce right back through it. That would be kind of very on brand with what we're seeing today, which is, we broke the opening range high right here, and then we've come down, and now do we break the opening range low and then bounce? That could be very fitting as well. But we got to remember we have Trump speaking in 10. So just as we are leaving, the big guy will be coming on. And really, it makes sense that, everyone knows before he speaks, maybe you don't go crazy. Maybe you wait till after, because you don't know if he's going to come
Yeah.
on there and say something. Oh, yeah, we're done with tariffs. That was fun. Tariffs are gone now. And we screamed to new highs. Or if he goes, I'm going to tariff everyone, including that island with the penguins on it by 10,000%. And then we tank, right? So and we talk about this all the time. Leading up to binary events, you quite often see chop. You quite often see both sides having a bad day and getting hit on both ends of things, and then you wait for, as something occurs, you end up, as that binary event is over, you get your movement. Same thing with earnings, right? You generally don't see the best trends a couple days before earnings, especially the day of earnings. You don't see the best trends there. You get some movement, and then you have the earnings event, and then you start to get your whatever trend now that the binary event's out of the way. So I look at Trump as just another binary event in our way.
B and M are coming down fast here, guys. I'm thinking about adding to it, but I'm looking for a bounce here. Bounce would be better to kind of add into and go for a swing, but it just keeps dropping, so it might just drop fast here, right back through the VWAP.
It's a good problem to have. Right?
It's not a bad problem, but
Right.
I need to come back so much that I need to size into it a little bit,
Wanting to add to a good position certainly isn't a bad
especially on a
issue.
day like today when I've had nothing but bad positions.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's all it takes. This thing drops
Just
to
one down, one. Yeah.
$20 or something today, then you're
Key is
good.
that I don't want to add on the bid right now because that's the easy way to just ruin this trade completely, right?
Yeah.
I go and add right now on the bid, it bounces 20, 30 cents, and then next thing you know, it's just driving up and squeeze city, right? So when you get into these names, a lot of the times you got to know the sizing, and if anything, I should be adding in on weakness here on a bounce, then adding into it. We'll see if it gets back. I'm looking at the 9 EMAs, right? That's what I always look at, regardless. So I just look at the short-term moving averages to see if it can get back to that spot and reject that spot. VXX looks interesting. I took a little swing there on just as a protection, 200 shares. I've been doing this a little bit more often when I see dumps. Just go with a really small size in the VIX. Worst comes to worst, I can usually make my money back if the VIX just has a huge spike, right? So maybe I could just cut out, just get my money back. It's not a trade to get in the green with that VIX. It's more of a trade that's just a safety trade, right? Just having some safety on in case I get a huge dump. All of a sudden, the VIX jumps $2. Well, if it jumps $2, I got $400 there. I could lose on QS. That's fine, right? So
We are
VIX
bouncing
is
a little
holding.
bit.
Yeah, the
I'm
VIX is
really
holding a little bit here. What you want to see is kind of like, remember I talk about the VXX, how it needs to be to really show you signs of strength, 60 cents on the pops. Remember, that was just a 10-cent pop, so just watch for the next move. We need to see the next move. I think that matters more than that first cut down on the SPY.
so on the SPY here, I've just marked this line as these two lows right here. And we're struggling to stay above that on this 5-minute candle. We only got a minute left, and that's what I'm looking for. Is, right, do we try to bounce back into yesterday's or the current day's range and fail, and then start to push lower? Okay, well then it's probably time to go, or the opposite. Right? Do we end up this ends up being a liquidity grab, just like we saw before? That wouldn't surprise me at all. Right? It wouldn't surprise me if we have old Trumpo comes on and really rips the thing, or really tanks the thing. I mean, neither of those would shock me. But yeah, so far we've reclaimed these prior lows and we are just holding above them. So we just need some confirmation here. I don't think we're going to get it. I think it's going to be one of those. Let's just wait until the man speaks, and when he speaks, we'll end up having some idea of whether or not we're going to like the fact that it's on Forex Factory. This is where I found it. This is where I find all my news. It wasn't on here. I swear I checked this morning, and there was nothing on there. So they just added it later.
Yeah, they put those on another place to get that is just the White House. So I'm sure that's just scanning the White House site. There's the movement and BMN are starting to break there, guys. I'm trying to add here on the bid now. It's dropping fast there. I'm just trying to get filled in between the spread here now. Come on, BMNR. Go for that just bloom. I won't be mad at you.
Yeah, the VWAP here at 62.50. So we'll see what happens at that area.
ETHU, I still got some money to spend, so I'm probably going to go spend a little bit there to see if I can grab a short there and also ride that. This is high risk, guys. High risk. I'm on the push here, so nothing that I feel like I have edge on, really. I'll just be honest. I'm just looking at the trade here, trying to stick with the technicals.
Good. I like that. Just stick with the technicals, right?
That's what I'm doing. I mean, that's why I got the swing in the VXX too, and it's in the green now. I'm still watching to see if, QS can hold on here. But at least a little spike there in the VIX.
Well, listen, maybe he'll come out there and he'll kick down the door and I'll say, you know what? I don't like Ethereum.
No, what if he taxes? Randomly. What if he finds a way that he wants to tax crypto?
Yeah.
Dude, that would be the disaster.
Tax everything but Trump coin.
Everything but the Trump coin.
Yeah, we'll just we'll hit all those. None of mine.
We're gonna tariff the digital economy.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Let's see what happens, guys. Let's see. It's gonna be a crazy day. I'll tell you that much, guys.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Wild.
We're just we're there dealing with it, but and laughing about it. But like Tax says, right? Some days are meant to sit on hands, and it turns out that's one of these days. And again, I'm happy, right?
Definitely one of those days where if you were sitting on your hands, you're enjoying life.
Should
have been in that beach with that PR guy.
I am not. I'm certainly not happy that I got stopped out. But again, I don't need to. It's just so different from discretionary trading, where you have to go, oh man, was were my emotions not good? Was this not good? Was that not good? And I just go, no, okay. I can sit there rationally and look at it. I'm tagging my trades as we speak so I can get some totals, and we can see which ones are the strategies that end up working out for me, which ones aren't. Let's just size into the ones that are working and size down on the ones that aren't, and just kind of size everything down a little bit overall. And because in this case, with the market dropping, I'm looking at some of these strategies and saying, oh, well, I don't know if I'd be quite up today, but I would certainly not be stopped out, and I'd probably be closer to like what I'd consider a mild down day to a flat.
We'll see what happens here, man. It's interesting to say the least, right? Definitely getting the slowdown. I think it's the Trump slowdown here towards, like Michael says, till we get to speaking. But we'll see what happens, guys. It's 10:58. Unfortunately, we got to wrap up, guys. So what I want you to do, if you really want us on later and later, well, we need you guys to yell at Trade the Pool. We need to stream for more. So, hey, let us know, guys. Like always, you guys can give us some feedback and let us know how you guys want us on for longer. Of course, we've been bringing on multiple traders. We're looking to expand, so feedback like that is always appreciated. And you guys can always reach out to us or reach out to the Trade the Pool fam saying, we need more Mitch and Michael throughout the day. Find the way. And We'll find the way, guys. We'll see what happens today. Definitely the SPY, a little bit of a trickle down, but really hasn't broken hourly lows. I think that's one thing to kind of keep an eye out for. Any levels for those traders out there, Michael, to keep an eye out for?
I just say, listen, right? Like we mentioned, the man is coming on, and I wouldn't do anything until he leaves. So if you're gonna be
Yeah.
sitting watching him, I know I won't. If you're gonna be sitting watching him, you just wait until like the camera fades to black, and then the
Yeah.
market will make up its mind on whatever it's doing. Don't react too much with whatever he says. Just wait. Same thing we say with JPow. Wait for him to walk off the stage, and then that's usually when they start to turn back on the bots. They start to take all of the different trades that we end up seeing from there.
All right, guys, this QS, I just feel like it's too much risk here for it to just sit there, right? So I'm cutting it on more of a, like just too high of size there. So I'm going to cut it here so that I can definitely risk down towards the low. That's my key of cutting it here. Now I give to 82s versus to the 90 spot, right? So let me go in quantum towards going towards that 82 versus risking right now towards 90, then getting clicked. The next thing you know, it's at 930s, right? So I'd rather have the smaller size and get the trade right than be big sized and get the trade wrong, right? So we'll see what happens there, guys. What happens is QS and other names. You guys see me trying to bounce back in some of these Ethereum names. We'll see how that one works out. The VIX, there's your now starting to take off, right? So that's why I have this exposure in the swing side of things to try to help me if QS turns into a bigger loser. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Like always, you guys can catch up with all of us on Twitter. We're always out there, and we're going to keep pushing. Don't forget our new event that is coming for you guys. The link is in the description as you see below, guys. So if you want to build your trading bot live and free, turn your winning strategy into an automated bot, well, you got to be there, guys. The best part, no actual coding needed. You're probably going to be using some AI, right? And you get to catch more A+ setups, trade hands-free, boost efficiency and profits, all on August 18th, 11 a.m. Hit it, guys. Live event with giveaways. Reserve your spot now. Just look below in the description and click that link. Be with my man, of course, Michael Noss, right here, this guy. And you're not going to miss it, guys. Stats Edge is another thing that you guys need to look into. You see that shirt? If you're not looking into the Stats Edge, where's your edge, man? And where's the stats to back it, right? Yeah. All right, guys, we'll see you guys back tomorrow. Of course, we start at 9 a.m. Don't miss that. We're going over now to a company meeting, and we're going to yell at them how you guys want us longer right here. So we'll see you next time on this show. Like always, we'll be here battling along with you guys. Keep